is brand new, it still won't power on, but the light will come on when I plug it in.
That's a DS? Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the first things that you could check is those things are dependent on the upper screen.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's up. It's dependent on the, upper screen.
Mhm.
So, check the connection to the upper screen,
Okay.
and if, actually, take it apart and check the cable for the upper screen too.
Like that flex ribbon?
Yeah, the one that goes through the hinge and you gotta wrap it around to get it up in there.
Yep.
Um, though that's your most likely suspect. The next thing after that is, um, disconnect the power source, but leave the battery in, and then all you can really do is go in there and run the traces and make sure power is going through the system
Oh, okay.
with a voltmeter.
Oh,
What'd you call
well.
me? I'm no voltmeter.
No, we were saying that you need to use X to go to control that other machine, and then switch back and forth between grid view and whatever we're sharing. So that way, when we're sharing something other than the show notes, you can actually bring that up on the screen large. And then when we're just talking, we can be large.
It's a lot of work, Joe.
What do
Or
you
you
want
can
me to
get like
say?
you can get like a Professor X chair and put your laptop in it and just float back and forth between the room.
I mean, you're already controlling the screen share over there. I don't know what you're using to do that.
What do you mean?
Well, you're scrolling through the notes, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so can you switch back and forth between the grid view and the share view?
No, because I'm not on that machine.
Well, with X to go, you could be.
Well, that's what I mean. That's a lot of work.
Well, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
You have to do 2 sudo apt installs.
No,
One
I
on each
know.
machine. One with a server, one with the client.
Ah, crap. Hang on. Is it 101? Oh, no,
Mhm.
it wouldn't be. It's on Wi-Fi. Hang on.
While you're there,
I thought we were supposed to be speeding things up.
Mm-mm. You know how it goes.
we wanted a quicker show, so guess what? You're here till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I guess it's better than us being here till tomorrow.
That would be a long show.
Right?
Yeah.
You'd lose me partway through.
I think you'll have lost me way before partway through.
Aha.
So did you install X to go?
Better. No. I installed SSH.
Ooh.
Just kidding. It was already installed. It's for the music, so I can do music. Because I've
Oh, right,
gotten to do
okay.
music a bunch lately.
Right. Okay. Are we going to do the audio?
Yeah.
Audacity. Get ourselves ready to go.
Boop.
I'm ready.
I've just got to remember which button to press. I set it up with the pause button, and then I go and press the record button instead of the pause button.
That's the one. Mine are on opposite sides of the keyboard, so I don't think I can actually get too confused. Fantastic. It's fantastic. I'm still testing out my mute key.
Right.
But
We're going to
also, hang on,
Mute
little
key,
level.
mute key.
Got to get a little level up. Levels.
Levels.
All right. I think I'm good.
Levels. Are
Little too
we
much
ready to
fast.
do 3, 2, 1 record and then 25 seconds?
I was testing Audacity. Let me clear that. Close. Do not save. Start over. Press. I'm ready to press R.
Oh, you press R?
Yeah. So click
Ah.
inside the little thing, and then you can press R,
Oh.
and then it won't do the
Oh.
little freezy thing.
No, I
hold
do
on,
it.
let me
I
try that.
do
Hold
it.
on. Ooh. All
Mhm.
right. Okay. All right. Wait, hold on. All right. Okay, I'm ready.
Right. 3, 2, 1, record.
Oh, mine didn't start.
Try that again.
Oh dear. 3, 2, 1, record. Someone's got a very barky dog in the background.
Yep. My dog's decided to bark today.
You know, I think back a little bit, and I remember, wasn't it 15 seconds of silence? And then it morphed into 20 seconds of silence, and now we're at
And then-
25 seconds of silence.
The more we give Dale to work with, the better the audio. Anyway, shall we do 3, 2, 1, 0?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Zero.
Bloody hell, that was a big lag on my end.
Oh.
You were all perfect in sync, but it was about a half a second lag.
Oh, it was like that for me the last time. I think it depends on where Discord decides your server is going to live, your audio server,
Yeah.
because my latency was really high on the last episode, but this time it's 20 something. So I think we've chosen a US server today, Tony.
Okay, right. Right, over to you.
Is it though? Is it really? We're gonna mess
I
this up.
hope so.
You know
Oh,
we're
Mike,
gonna mess this up. We chose
you
a new
weren't-
format.
Yeah, you weren't here. Well, you know about the Wanderings move.
Yeah, everything else seems pretty standard. What's up with the new beginning there, though? I see Joe's coming straight out of Compton, and
Yeah.
Yeah, we put
Tony's
that
coming.
straight in at the beginning, and we've changed what we say just slightly.
Yeah. There. Mike, if you want to add some flavor to it, I mean, you'll say it. But that's the deal, right? So welcome to mintCast podcast, blah, blah, blah. And then Joe takes it right after I say Linux. Just hops in there.
Just get all up in there.
I like it.
Okay.
Good one, Mike.
Now
Good one.
that this is a thing, I feel like what we really should be doing is changing this every time.
Yeah,
should
we
be
could do.
different every
Yeah.
time.
yeah.
I think it's a
Well,
nice little joke at the beginning.
Maybe I
Okay.
should say I've escaped the football or the soccer.
Just for a minute. No, you got to say football. It'll confuse everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and one last thing.
And we'll say the same thing in February.
One last thing. I did remove Spot Chat, that line, because I don't think any of us actually get into it anymore, do we?
Nope.
It exists, but yeah. All right. Well, are we good?
Oh, I
Always
added,
good.
just so you know, Leo, right there in that section, I just added the pronunciation for Kaseya, in case you weren't aware.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, wait.
Damon.
Oh, I didn't finish the Wanderings thing.
Damon.
Okay, give me 2
Demon.
minutes.
Damon.
Demon.
Demon.
Joe, you ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
You know, I watched part of first season when it was first airing. I wasn't overly interested, so I didn't stick with it.
They had a whole episode. Did you ever watch that, Leo? It's Always Sunny?
I've seen some. I like clips mostly. I've not seen the show itself.
Yeah, every time we talk about Damon versus Demon, it always reminds me of Dayman, which was like a song that they made up when they were drunk and
Uh,
sniffing spray paint, I think. Oh, I got some nice mood lighting down here. Looks good on my skin.
mm. Mike, what did you do?
What?
Upgrade. I'm just looking at
Oh,
Mac OS VM. Ooh. Okay.
mm.
And
The thing
Mike
I
is,
showed you on that Saturday show.
yeah. How do I make it sound like you're a horrible person for using Mac?
There's no way to.
That actually, you already did.
That's it, man. That's it.
Our old Josh, he's fully over at the dark side these days.
That's all right, man. Use the tools that work. I love it.
Wait, who's
Yeah,
using
no.
Windows?
No. He's using Mac.
Who's using Mac?
We used to have a young lad called Josh on the show, not the Josh who's on the show now.
Oh,
Young
British.
young British lad. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he won a Diana Award
I saw
saw
that.
that.
for his work on Edgy Blocks.
Okay, I think I got it all. I think we're good. Only 9
Looks
minutes
good.
late. Tony might still be able to go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yeah, well, if we keep it to 2 hours, I'll be happy.
Look at that. We can do it. I don't know. We'll see how long Joe's
Has anybody
script
got a
takes.
stopwatch? Oh, you know that's going to take me less than 5 minutes.
That's
You
the guy
know.
that takes 12 minutes every time.
Exactly. So we should set a little timer on each person's wanderings.
That's okay. I'll just, use mics.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually mine takes about 45 seconds, so I'll donate my remaining time to everybody
No,
else.
because I'm gonna ask you about that Mac VM a lot.
Oh, okay.
Well, I gotta know because I want to run it myself and whether or not it can be done in boxes. Anyway, okay, I'll ask those questions later.
That's right. Save it for the show.
Yep, trying to. Okay. Messing with my levels again. All right, are we ready?
I'm ready. I'll mute.
I'm not because I
Oh,
don't have YouTube chat up yet. Is there anybody in YouTube? Hello, people in YouTube.
so let me ask you this before we start. For your beginning stuff here, Leo, I don't have a mute key on my machine like I used to. So what would be the best way for me to go about this that I don't mess up your intro and whatnot? Should I like
Oh,
mute the Audacity or mute Discord or
I'd you know what? Do you want to fix this real quick?
possibly?
Because we can. There's absolutely a way to fix it.
There didn't used to be a mute hotkey, so you're going to have to go into keyboard and then shortcuts
All
Gotcha.
right, here you go.
and
Mike.
find the mute mic
Open
section
the
and
menu.
I'm
type
in
make
there.
it Alt
keyboard.
Z.
Is it
Ew.
quiet keys?
No, go to shortcuts and
Yep, I'm in
then
there.
go to sound and media
Yep.
and go wait, what is it? Mic mute. It's the fourth one down
Oh, I see.
under
Mic
keyboard
mute.
shortcuts. One of the unassigned ones
Uh-huh.
is double click on it and then choose your key. I have chosen scroll lock and it works perfectly.
I use Alt Z because they're
Yes,
real close to each other,
too many keys.
and my hand sits there.
What the hell scroll lock?
Top right by print screen and pause and home and insert and page up.
Yeah, I don't
Depends
have
on the
that.
size of your keyboard.
Pick a key that doesn't do anything. That
Alt Z, Joe. Sounds good.
Alt Z. Gross. You guys with your
And then
modifier keys.
that's it, and then just exit out of here?
Yeah, and then test it and then yell at me.
All right,
Nothing.
I'm gonna have to switch to Bluetooth on
How,
this
did you see
keyboard
Audacity?
because
Little
Oh,
waveform, nothing?
no, let me try that real quick.
Yeah, try that and make sure Audacity is on the same wavelength. Get it? Wavelength?
All right, looks good.
All right, cool. Look at that. Boom. Fixed an issue.
Yay.
It's like we use Mint a lot or something. All right. Okay. Oh, what I meant to do was hello Yusef. Hello Londoner. Hello Joseph. Ooh. Joseph, I have an answer for you. We're gonna put this in the feedback because this is something that I really like to talk about. It is 511 currently, and that's what all of my machines are on. So if you go And you know what, Joseph? I'm just show you real quick. Mint. What is it? Linux Mint. I forget how to get to it, but it's the Edge one. Cinnamon.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you had to do like a internet search for it last time. You couldn't find it through the traditional way.
Let me see. Maybe it's in the release notes. Edge? No. Yeah, you're not kidding, man. All right, hold on. Linux Mint Edge. That's Ulissa. I don't want Ulissa. Oh wait, it was all versions. That's what it was.
Oh, right.
Uma. There it is. Cinnamon Edge. There you go. Bam. So Joseph, there you go. Download that one instead. It comes with the 5.11 kernel. Yep, they've been making those for the past, I think, since 20 dropped, the original 20, and then 20.1 had one, and 20.2 had one too. But I want to talk about that in the feedback because I think a lot of people don't know about it.
All right, my keyboard is acting a little wonky, so if it takes me a second to mute or unmute, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's taken me a minute to actually get the show started, so that sucks.
Lots of minutes.
Yep. All right, so let's do this. Yay!
Do it.
Here is intro music. Welcome to mintCast, the podcast by the Linux Mint community for all users of Linux.
Straight from Texas, I'm Joe.
Hi, this is Tony, and I've escaped the football.
I'm Mike, the people's champ.
And I'm your friendly neighborhood Leo. This is episode 365. This is episode 365.5. Livestream information is at mintcast.org/livestream. If you see something that you'd like to hear about, tell us. Send us email at mintcast@mintcast.org. Join us live on YouTube. Post at the mintcast subreddit. Chat with us on Telegram, Discord, Facebook, or post directly at mintcast.org. We're recording on Sunday, 11th July, 2021. First up in the news, we realize the kernel is 30. Ubuntu tweaks its themes. Mint 20.2 is here, and Audacity owners are causing a stir in the community again. In security, Kaseya and Print Nightmare. Then in our wanderings, I migrate my blog. Joe gets busy. Tony struggles with 5.11, and Mike jumpstarts a Mac OS VM. In our innard section, we've been running Linux Mint 20.2. How about you? And finally, the feedback and a couple of suggestions. So here we are in a really backwards way to do the show. If you haven't noticed, the intro was weird because now we're in the news. What? So yeah, so one of the things that we did to change besides the intro was we kind of changed up how this first half of the show is going to go, and it's going to go news, security update, and then wanderings. And it's mostly because Joe talks too much, and and so I think it's just so we can kind of watch the clock a little bit, so the episodes don't balloon out of control like they have been in the past. We
They
really want to keep it to like an hour ish, not an hour 45 ish. So this is mostly to save Owen some headache.
And also
So
to save Tony's marriage, so he's not going to bed at 1 a.m. every night.
but he might even be able to catch
Correct.
the end of the footy game, right? Or maybe. Maybe.
Oh, there's no chance of that.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got to have a little screen off to the side so you can just kind of keep an eye on it, whatever.
Why? Why would I want to?
Oh, okay. So you're not much of a fan then.
I'm not a big football fan. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Soccer.
Cricket's my game. Cricket's my game.
Oh, that's right. I've heard you talk about that a lot. Well, before we go and waste too much time, let's dive into the news. So the first thing is, of course, Linux Mint 20.2 is released. Yay! We've finally done it. Clem and Co. has finally done it. That's the cinnamon version, the mate version, the XFCE version, and an Edge version, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. But the Edge version is the one that comes with the hardware enablement stuff already turned on. You have one of the latest kernels, just in case you've got newer hardware like I do. That is available to us now. So,
And of course, we've all been running it 24/7 so that we can give a full review of it
Oh yeah.
today.
I actually have. I just I YOLO the day it came out. I just did like a tweet thread and I just YOLO installed it on this machine, which is kind of dangerous because I need this one to work. For like days like today. So yeah, the how to upgrade guide is in there. And I mean, it's super easy. Once you get fully updated on your machine, all you do is go to edit and then upgrade to Linux Mint 20.2 UMA will be in there. And you click it and it'll take you all the way through. It'll walk you through. Don't forget to do your user merge thing. This is something that the Debian group has been pushing for a long time. And Ubuntu Derivative should do this as well. It's the idea with this is that you have a bunch of stuff in user bin, it's just like user bin and then bin, two separate directories. This is to squish it all together so there's only one place to go. That's kind of the idea with all of that. But anyway, that's the deal. Go get yourself upgraded if you haven't done it yet. But I guess by all means you don't have to. But it is nice. There's seems to me cinnamon memory has slightly decreased. Not in the hundreds of megs, but in the tens of megs. So
Well,
that is pretty nice.
that was one of their, major things that they put out there, that Cinnamon was using less memory and you could control when Cinnamon restarts when it's using too much memory.
Right, which would be really nice for people running on machines with 4 gigabytes of RAM, for example.
Or you could always use Mate.
So mate, right? Like, what's the performance difference? Is there anything? Does it
I've not
feel any
noticed
different at
any.
all?
No, I've not
Yep.
noticed any.
Well, Mike, I think that's what you said too, right? I mean, this
Yeah,
is one of those little upgrades.
this is one of those things that, we do twice a year or so, and the hope, for me at least, is that I don't even notice it after I do it. I hope, 20 minutes after I upgrade that I've forgotten that I've upgraded, because that's why I
Sh-
like Mint. I like it to be boring. I like it to be rock solid stable.
Yep.
Yeah, let's be careful we don't do the innards in the news.
Right.
True, right? I know. See, that's one of the things that we're gonna get caught up on. Yeah. One of these days we'll get the show right.
So anyway, I guess one thing, so we don't get into the innards, then one thing to add on to what you were mentioning, where we're at now with 20.2, you all should have also gotten a little system reports icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your panel by now, so you can click on that and upgrade through there as well.
Oh, see, I guess I just jumped on it too fast. Otherwise,
Oh,
I would have gotten that right.
on my work machine, I've had it sitting there for, what, 3, 4, or 5 days now, something like that.
Right.
It doesn't go away. I mean, I could make it go away, but
So one of the things that I noticed though is that, and this is in the release notes, is that I'm now getting cinnamon spices upgrade in the update manager. So it's so fantastic. So anyway, yeah, I'll stop bringing the innards into the news, but that's the deal. Linux Mint 20.2. If you're ready to upgrade, go do that now. It's all ready to go. So next up is Linux Foundation celebrates the upcoming 30 years of Torvalds kernel with a dry t-shirt contest. A dry t-shirt contest. Tony, I
Yeah, I
think
thought
you were one of the
I
big advocates for a wet t-shirt contest, but they told you no. Is that
I put it in the show note. We were hunting around for things for the news last night, and I found this one, so I put it into the news, and I just thought it was quite funny that we'd missed the fact that the kernel was coming up to nearly 30 years in August, and
right?
the foundation has decided to do a special, special swag, shall we say? Because it's not just a T-shirt, but they're doing
Right.
some special swag.
Yeah, I've got it up on the screen now. You can see what they're offering. I feel like I need all of it. The two t-shirts look really cool. I'm definitely gonna buy some of the stickers. I don't know if I want that hat. I probably will. But this is one way to give back. Buy a
Getting
bunch
me
of
Do
that
they
gift
crap.
card
have
is another way to give back.
do they have
Getting-
super key stickers?
I don't think so. Looks
Nobody
mostly.
has super key stickers.
Hey, but they have a bottle for you to take water to the gym.
It's
See?
not big enough.
Aw. Well, you just refill it while you're there. I mean, that's the whole point of
Uh,
reusable bottles. Look at that thing.
Use the
Look at that.
public water fountain.
Yeah, why not?
COVID.
I think that logo on a super key sticker would be a bit small.
Yeah, maybe. Well, then there you go. There's a mask for you, Joe. There you go. You can
Yeah.
wear the mask while drinking the water. I think
Oh
that's
yeah. That
that's how
would be
that
helpful.
works. Pretty sure.
And wear those new
All those
workout socks.
all those trips to the electronics store, you can advertise Linux while you're changing the operating system on the computer in the corner.
That was seriously going to be my other point, which is you kind of become a walking billboard, right? I mean, so if you give them $17, of which they probably make 2 or 3, and then you become advertising for them. And as long as you don't arch by the way them to death, they might even consider running Linux once, and then go straight back to Windows. But that's not the point, right? I mean, they know about it now. So anyway, I'm probably going to give me a t-shirt and some stickers. That's for sure. All right. So here's the next thing that I'm sad for these reasons. Ubuntu in 21.10 is going to get rid of its middle theme. So the whole thing with this is the Yaru theme. I think you've probably seen it by now. It looks like, I don't know how to say it, but Edwida, but more colorful. And all of the icons up at the top, they pop out more. I feel like that's really important, especially for people that are unfamiliar with the user interface. The way that Edwida goes, and they're still going this way. I've seen some of the previews of what Edwida is going to look like, and it's all gray on gray, and everything is flat. There is no kind of there's nothing that pulls buttons out to let you know that you can actually click on them and that they're not just decoration on the window for some reason. And I mean, it's obvious to us because we know what those buttons do. But folks that maybe don't or don't care about those buttons, it seems like they're just there as decoration. So this is one thing that I've loved about Yaru for the longest time. And I think they used to call it the Communa theme. So if you know it by that name, that's what I'm talking about. And the thing I'm sad about is we can't get easily Yaru in Mint. I want Yaru in Mint. Just gimme. I know It Swirls, who is Joshua Pesach. We had him on the show maybe a year ago or so. And well, it's probably longer than that now. I think everything's blown up time-wise in my mind. But we had him on the show, and he was working on the Cinnamon Ubuntu remix. And he and I can't remember the name of the other person that was working on it, but they're working on getting Yaru working in Cinnamon. So one day, hopefully, that it will be way easier than it is right now. I don't know why it's so difficult, but either
That'd be
way,
cool.
I think so. I really enjoy that theme. It's a good
Y-
theme.
Honestly, it's one of my favorite themes, and it's my favorite thing about Ubuntu.
hmm So the thing that's happening is if you're watching the screen, otherwise on the podcast, it's they had a light, standard, and dark mode. So light was exactly what it sounds like, right? It was light from top to bottom. The bar was light, the window was light, the everything was light. Then they had standard, which was basically the light theme, but with dark header bars. And that is what it was defaulted to. So if you've ever used the default Ubuntu installation, you were using the standard theme, and then there was dark, which is fully dark. The bars are dark, the window is dark, everything is dark, right? They're getting rid of the standard theme. So the two-tone one, the one that was dark on top and white in the bottom, that's going away. And this is because GNOME itself does not support theming. So Yaru already is stepping outside of the bounds of what GNOME is meant to be capable of. I mean, it's extensible, right? I mean, you can make these things. But if you've heard anybody ever complain about, oh, this extension broke every single time. Oh, this thing broke. Oh, this thing broke. This broke. That broke. Whatever broke. It's because of this. It's because GNOME, while it is extensible, is not meant to be extensible in some of the ways that people are taking it. So that's basically what's happened here. So that theme is just going to be very difficult to maintain going forward once they drop onto GNOME 40, which is what Joseph mentioned a second ago in chat. That's the deal. GTK4 and GNOME 40 makes it even harder to handle that standard theme. So it's just going away. Oh, I got you. Hey, I like that. That's fantastic. Tony keeping us on time. I love it. All right. Well, so yeah, Yaru. I want Yaru. Gimme, please. Joshua, Pesach. That would be amazing. You're awesome for even trying. I love it. That's why KDE is much better than GNOME. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, the last thing is Audacity fork maintainer quits after alleged harassment. So this is one of those stories, right? So it turns out,
Hey, do you want me to
yeah, go for it.
run this
Go for
one?
it. I'm gonna have this
Okay.
on the screen while you do it.
Well, this is all from memory. So after the telemetry information came out for Audacity, someone decided to fork it because it's open source and that's what you
Right.
do. You don't like its direction, you fork it.
Cookie
Yeah.
engineer.
So, yeah. And then this guy went to 4chan to try and get a name for his fork. And anybody that knows anything about 4chan has to realize that this was a completely terrible idea. This is how you get your app named Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah.
And so they picked a name. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. It's somewhere in that article,
Oh,
but
it's Sneedacity.
Sneedacity.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And the guy that was forking it didn't like that, so he completely deleted it and named it Tenacity.
Right, which was the leading name before the 4chan Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
By a lot, by the way. There were like 5 different choices, and Tenacity was far and away higher than anything else until the Brigade.
Right. And this made the people on 4chan extremely angry.
Mhm.
So a YouTube video was created doxing this guy. And evidently he quit being the maintainer because people were coming to his house where him and his wife and his kids are and were knocking on his windows and harassing and threatening him at, you know, all hours. And yeah, I kind of agree with the guy. I mean, if people started showing up, granted, I'm in Texas, so they'd have probably gotten shot.
Well, and
So,
that's what I was gonna say too, Joe. This something like this could never take place in America because I don't remember if you mentioned it or not, but the people who showed up to his home apparently were wielding butterfly knives.
Yeah.
yeah,
Butterfly knives, like Karate Kid too. Like, try and show up to somebody's house in America with a butterfly knife. We all have
uh,
guns here.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it definitely would have been, well, I might not have pulled out the 12 gauge, but I'd have definitely pulled out the 20 gauge.
Oh my god.
And then and that would have been the end of the conversation. That's a very lovely butterfly knife, but this is Texas and you're on my property without my permission. This is what happens. Bye-bye.
So they actually got him though. That was the thing. So he alleges that they cut him on his arm with that knife. So I think that right there rolled in. I mean, regardless of if you've got protection, do you really want to risk it?
Exactly, somebody had gotten shot, but I wouldn't have
No, but
been
that's
the
what I'm
maintainer.
saying. Like
I
you know
wouldn't have
that
been
there
the
are more than
maintainer
5 people
anymore.
on
I'd
4chan.
have quit. That'd have been the end of
Yeah,
it. I'd
exactly.
probably move too because, you
You've
know,
been
once your
doxxed.
address is out there, it's out there.
Right.
Absolutely.
So regardless of what you think you've got in your closet, it doesn't matter because now, if all this stuff is to be believed, then I mean you're in danger, man. And I would imagine that won't be the last of it.
Exactly.
And now they're also the 4chan brigade are disputing the facts that Cookie Engineer has shared
Right.
with everyone. They're stating, without him providing evidence that these things occurred, they just don't believe it. They think he's making all this up. I don't see what he could possibly gain from making this up. I mean, he's already stepped down from the project. He could have
Right.
just stepped down if he wanted to without making this up.
He
Right, exactly.
essentially gave up on a passion project. There has
Right.
to be a reason behind
Well,
it,
as far as I
so
understand, in some of his GitHub musings, he was always planning on stepping down. This just accelerated the process. And then he's got a quote. He's quoted down here that I'm in contact with GitHub and the German BKA, who's the federal police in Germany, as of now. Therefore, I will not disclose any more information publicly about what happened to anyone. Evidence has been gathered, submitted, and will be acted upon. I will not legally let go of this. So, sounds to me like it's true, but I mean, once we start seeing actual legal proceedings and people being arrested, things like that, then it's just going to be on the it. It's probably true, but I mean, we'll see soon enough just how true any of this stuff is. Because I don't imagine even in Germany you can go around slashing people up without seeing some kind of repercussion, right?
Yeah, this whole Audacity thing just got so much more blown up than it really needs to. We're on Linux. Linux is all about choice. If you're not happy with a program, then you fork it and you move on to the fork if you want to move on to the fork. If
Yeah.
not, stay with the
yeah,
original program. And that
if
they've made this into such a huge debacle. And
and evidently some of them did start their own fork, which they named Sneedacity, and
right,
that should have been the end of it. Okay, you didn't like his
exactly.
fork? Start your own.
Yeah. The
That's the
the
end
the
of it.
thing that I've been screaming off the rooftops, and this will be the last thing that I'll say about this particular story, but what I've been saying is if you use Linux, which is probably the vast majority of people that were posting about this, you're not going to be affected. Everybody that compiles this and puts it in a repo, whether that's Flatpak or Snap or your actual repo, whatever you use, are going to turn off the environmental variables or just not set them. So telemetry just wouldn't work. It doesn't work without you explicitly going in and telling it how to work. So everybody on Linux is going to be fine. And then that's pretty much it. If you're on Windows and Mac, it's going to be like Ardour. Like instead of paying for Ardour, you could compile it yourself on Windows or Mac. And same with Audacity. If you don't like the telemetry, which is opt-in, by the way, and there is an offline mode, by the way, then you can go compile it yourself. And that's what these folks are going to do. They're going to just make an executable in the DMG package that has it turned off, and that's fine. But I feel like this was way blown way out of proportion. All of
Yeah,
this stuff
absolutely.
was blown way out of proportion, and it didn't need to go this far. None of this stuff needed to happen. And I think it all really kind of happened because it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Just badly communicated. Well, anyway, that'll do it for the news, and we'll move on down to the security update. So in security, we have a couple of things. And Mike, you did a lot of digging on this one. We were talking about Kaseya yesterday when we were putting together the show. And it's just this is a huge, huge attack. It has nothing really to do with Linux, and it has everything to do with supply chain. So, well, what's going on here?
Yeah, it's once again we're looking at another ransomware attack on a mass scale.
Hmm.
So, attackers carried out a supply chain ransomware attack on July 2nd, leveraging a vulnerability in Kaseya's VSA, which is a virtual storage appliance.
Hmm.
It affects approximately 1,500 small to medium-sized businesses. So this is similar to the SolarWinds attack from was it last year, I believe, that kind of passed on the vulnerability to many others.
Right.
The attack was believed to have been perpetrated, of course, as usual, by the Russian-based hacker group Revil, which always, by the way, every time I read it, it always reminds me of Resident Evil.
Well, it is. I always read it as Revel.
Yeah, that's how I used to read it
Uh,
too. But then somebody said it was Revel, and I'm like, oh, all right, that makes sense, I guess.
huh. Okay, I'm gonna keep saying Revel though.
Yeah, I like it better that way too. But Kaseya has been downplaying this a lot and trying to state that it's hasn't affected that many people, and the people who it has affected, or the companies who it has affected, didn't affect them too badly. The most significant impact felt by this so far was in Sweden, where a chain of about 800 grocery stores were forced to temporarily close because they weren't able to operate their cash registers. So I guess that would be a problem in retail stores.
Yeah, and so yeah, that was the thing about it, right? Like, I saw a quote from the CEO of Kaseya saying it sucks for them.
Yeah, basically.
I
Basically,
mean,
yeah.
as off color as that is, and as nobody wants to hear that. Like the CEO of the company that you spend thousands of dollars to lease software from tells you about you losing a lot of your data. But that sucks. Like, yeah, I would like more than that, but I mean, it is. That's what it actually is. And so this is a supply chain type attack. So the Revo group were able to, if you kind of imagine like a conveyor belt with boxes of widgets inside. Um, the idea with this is as those things are getting ready to be taped up and shipped out, the Revo group was able to infiltrate and drop their own widgets inside that cause damage when it's opened back up, right? That's kind of what a supply chain attack basically is, without getting into too much detail. But yeah, it's sad. It's
I
not
didn't
great.
I didn't add it to the article. I actually forgot, but if my memory is correct, I believe the ransom that they're asking for on this was 70 million US.
You think they're gonna get 70 million?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, ooh.
At this
Well,
point now, but at this point now with the government encouraging companies to actively, pay these ransoms and get going, yeah, probably.
hang on, wait a minute. What? That it used to be the opposite of that. The
Mhm.
FBI always recommended never to pay.
Yeah, at some point within the last, I wanna say 30 days, it's been very recent, but they had a change of policy, and they're now actively encouraging companies to pay the ransom if they can afford it.
Right. Really?
Yeah, this is the day and
Really?
age we live in now because, I mean, ransomware attacks are so common. I mean, we're reporting on this practically every week.
Oh, we are, but really,
Mm.
we've decided that paying the ransom is a good, well, maybe not a good thing, but is the right thing to do.
Yeah, that's what they're saying now, and I actually read an article, and I wish I had sourced this. I couldn't find it again since I've seen it, but, in the article, it was from a mainstream news source, but they were saying that it's not so much that ransomware attackers have gotten so much more sophisticated, it's that
Mhm.
primarily IT, departments are lazy and just don't
Well,
bother
yeah.
to implement these security upgrades or to make sure that their patches are fixed and whatnot.
Mhm. Well, I don't know. I think that's a very big conversation to have, I think, and it's I don't know. For a lot of these companies, it boils down to if you're paying them enough, if you're giving them the right hours, if you're asking them to work 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Those patches aren't happening, man. Like
Yeah, no, I hear you.
they've apparently got other fires to handle if you're overworking them like that. But I mean, in a situation where you're actually doing what you need to do and you're working normal hours, I feel like yeah, it's inexcusable, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the other thing that we were going to talk about real quick is Print Nightmare. We don't normally bring Microsoft into the show like this, just mostly because it doesn't really affect us at all. But there are a lot of folks that dip their toes into the Linux water by dual booting. So there's a good chunk of folks that have Microsoft on another partition on their machine. So this is for y'all. If you run Linux, but you also dual boot Windows, I'm one of them. Um, you might want to care a little bit about this one. So, yeah, Mike, you did the research on this one too.
Yeah, this is a nasty one. So Microsoft issued an emergency patch last Tuesday, July 6th, for the print nightmare vulnerability, which is actually a set of two remote code execution vulnerabilities marked critical. The vulnerabilities were actually in the Windows print spooler service, and it allows
Hmm.
attackers to completely take over a system. The problem is the patch issued by Microsoft was only a partial fix, though. More patches are going to be needed to completely protect all of the Windows systems. The print nightmare actually began when someone dropped a proof of concept exploit for the vulnerability right onto GitHub, literally showing how an attacker can exploit the vulnerability and use it to take control of an affected machine.
Wow.
It was up for a few hours. It finally got taken down, but not before the code was copied and then circulated around the web.
Right. I mean, yeah, once it's on the web, it's on the web. There's no getting away from it. It's over at that point.
Does the machine have to be online for them to exploit the vulnerability?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So if
Yeah, but
I've got a dual boot box that I use just to manage a printer, because it won't work in Linux.
Yeah.
And so if I took that offline, the vulnerability ceases.
Well, the
the
problem
main-
is once you get it installed into your machine, at that point, a local unprivileged user can execute. I mean, the code can
Yeah, but
basically execute on
in
a
my
local.
case, no one
In
else
your
is going to
case,
be.
yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be fine. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean that's the answer to a lot of vulnerabilities, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
Well-
it's so widespread that it's a meme at this point,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh yeah, if you want the best antivirus in the world, just unplug your network cable. Haha. I mean, really though? And
The
Tony, it
major-
works for you, but the majority of folks are going to be
Yeah, I know
offline
it
with
wouldn't
their
work
two
for a lot
machines.
of folk, but
Okay, the major concern with this is not desktop machines. It's business servers.
Enterprise, yeah, absolutely.
And enterprise servers, and most of those are going to be VMs anyway. So you don't necessarily need the patch. You can simply turn off the print spooler.
Right, and that's what I'm showing on the screen right now. The way to do that, there are a couple of commands that you can do in the command line right here: stop service -name spooler -force, and then set service name spooler startup type disabled. That'll kill it, and then it'll prevent it from coming back on after a reboot. And I mean that's a nice workaround. If you don't have a printer, oh, that's the thing about this, right? It's not that you have a printer. It's that the spool service is on, and on every single installation of Microsoft Windows from 7 all the way up, the spooler service is on by default.
Yeah,
So
So-
it's
basically
Yeah,
like their version of cups, right?
yeah,
A lot of companies last Tuesday went around and did those commands on all of their servers very quickly upon hearing about the patch that was coming out that didn't
Yep.
completely patch things.
the high surface area ones need to be done manually, and everything else needs to be done automatically using GPOs. So you need if you haven't done this to a machine that doesn't have a printer installed, then you should go do this like soon. And
Mm.
if you decide to do a printer, don't forget that you did it. Put a little sticky note on the screen. Hey, don't forget to turn on the print spooler if you want to use a printer. And the way to do that is right. So just swap disabled for enabled, and it'll be good.
And also
Reboot
yet
fine.
another reminder for Windows users to not skip out on Patch Tuesdays.
Right, and then well, see, that's the thing. It's not fixed yet. There's no patch Tuesday yet.
Partially fixed. Partially
For-
fixed.
So that was the thing, though, that Microsoft had gone out and specifically said this will fix this issue, and then it did not.
Right.
So
not for
that-
all of them, yeah.
That's an extra little curve to this little issue, which is everybody thought they were fine, and then they weren't. So the other workaround is to block SMB, which if you use any kind of sharing or anything whatsoever between Windows machines, this is not an option for you. But I mean, temporarily, you may maybe do this when you're out and about, or just choose the public
Well, yeah.
firewall option.
That's not really going to work for most corporate settings because,
No.
well, share
Gotta block
drives
remote,
are
right?
a major thing.
Yep, map drives. I mean, you do them with GPOs. People just have them, and they would freak out without them. I've been there. So many calls about, hey, my map drive's not showing up. So I totally get it. It's just not going to be a workaround for most people. But if you do not do sharing at all, this is another way to prevent that. Even with it not being fixed, this is a way to prevent that.
And still allow printing.
Right, and you can still allow printing by doing this, but the spool server is still exposed, so yeah, I don't know. I think you might need to do both. The spooler service has to be off. I think that's probably going to be the easiest way to handle it.
Just set up a Linux print server.
Well, I mean, yes, actually, you know what? That is another good workaround. Just install cups on a Raspberry Pi, plug your printer in, and just share it. That's another way to handle that.
You
Oh.
set up some automated scripting where you dump a file there and it automatically prints it and then moves it to another location on the same file system saying it's printed.
Right. Yep, exactly. So I think that would be good. Either way, Kaseya doesn't really directly affect anybody. It's just such a widespread vulnerability or such a widespread hack that we had to talk about it. And then Print Nightmare is going to affect those people in dual boot situations. So, turn off your spooler service and you'll be okay, at least until you get the patch that's supposed to fix it. Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for Security Update. So now we'll head down to the Wanderings. Da-da-da, there we go. Everything's so backwards now.
I like it.
So what do y'all think about this? I mean, is it okay?
I
It
like it.
feels
Yeah,
weird,
it's
but I've been,
working.
but
It
we've
does.
we've been doing it the other way for a long time now, so this feels just a
Since the
little
beginning,
weird.
since October of 2018, I think 3 of us have been there since then, and it's always been this way. It's always been the Wanderings first. So this is weird for me.
Honestly, it
But
feels like we're flying now. Like we really feel like we're whipping right through the show.
well, see, it was the Wanderings that always caught us up. So we're
Mhm.
about to find out whether we keep
Mm.
flying or not.
Oh, I'm gonna
Right.
break it. I'm gonna
I
break
don't
it.
know.
Well, I really there was only one thing that I did that was big, and it scared the bejesus out of me. So here's the thing: there's a couple of things that happened that made me want to do this. So number one, DigitalOcean, I had to upgrade from 1604 to 1804 on my WordPress box, and I installed it all manually in the first place. So that makes it fragile, right? Things can easily go wrong when everything is hand put together. So I upgraded to 1804, but things were working just fine. But I ran into a situation where it would just tell me, "Hey, memory is your SQL server's out of memory," and so the website was unresponsive, and it would say SQL database not found, and it's like, what? So I'd have to restart the server every now and then. So I was like, no, no, if it's gonna, and this never happened in 1604, by the way. So I figured I got to figure something out. I either have to, redo the whole box or on 2004 or let someone else host it. And so my DNS host also has WordPress hosting for cheaper. So my DigitalOcean droplet was $5 a month, right? And that was fine. Gives you public IP address, blah blah blah. But it turns out I didn't really actually need that. So I went with my DNS provider's their WordPress implementation, and it's $3 a month for the first year, $4 a month after that, and that's really all I ever did with that server. So in the first month or in the first year, I'm saving $24. In the second year, I'll save $12 a year. So that's great. $24 and $12 over 2 years, I buy a whole full AAA game, right? That's cool. So that's nice. I don't have to worry about the back end of any of that. That makes it amazing. But the next thing that I was freaked out about, and it did end up biting me, is migration. So I saw at the end of June that not threat post, that the Register picked up one of my articles. We were talking about I was talking about how to turn off all of the meltdown inspector mitigations to get your performance back on Intel chips, and they linked to that. Huh, that was pretty cool. So anyway, so I saw a huge spike in traffic, and I was worried that my SQL Server was going to blow up during that time. So that's what really kind of made me do the migration. But anyway, so I did the migration. I used WP Vivid, uh, and I will say it's amazing. If you ever need to do a migration, go use WP Vivid. It was fantastic. I didn't have to do anything once the DNS name was the DNS was pointing to the right IP address. It was beautiful. None of my links. So I was afraid. There are 2 links that are floating around the internet that are linked in various places. I didn't want to break that. So the migration handled it all. I was so happy. Everything is fantastic. If you go to leochavez.org now, you'll see it. You won't notice it, but it's on hosted WordPress now. So that is nice. I can breathe a sigh of relief, and everything is fantastic now. So I'm pretty happy with it. Nothing blown up yet, but it did explode on me for some reason. I did the migration once, and then was like, "Can't find your webpage." So I freaked out. I was like, "Oh no, now everything is broken." But just deleted it, restarted it, did the migration again, and it worked. I don't know why, but meh. Either way, yeah, that's really all I. That's really the only technical thing that I did over the past fortnight, and it worked out well. Besides upgrading to Linux Mint 20.2, but we'll talk about that later. So anyhow,
Starting timer now for Joe.
perfect, and go.
Well, I thought I was busy before. I didn't really know what busy was. Now I kind of do. Um, Lately, I've been working from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then because my eldest child is taking driver's ed, I have to be at well, in that area of her driver's ed class from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. But thankfully, it's right next to my gym. So I've spent 2 hours a day, 5 days a week at the gym, hitting it hard. And it is slowly killing me because I am an old man. Um, Also have to make time for the wife, so I'm been also logging back into work from like 9 to 10 in the evening because of all the fun things that are going on there. But afterwards, spend time with the wife. I'm getting to bed between 1 and 3 and waking up at 6 to do it all over again. That being said, I haven't had a lot of time for projects, but I was able to get last week's alternate show out on Saturday with a bit of soldering, which was super fun, but I ended up accidentally showing the password page for mintCast on the live stream and had to drop what I was doing and change all the mintCast passwords. That was
So,
torture.
Oh, I
so
wish
if
I
you
had
go
caught that.
back
Oops.
and see vestiges of it, we've already cut it out of the video. Joe did a great job
Yeah.
of that. But I mean, if you see any kind of vestige about it, yeah, those passwords aren't going to work anymore, man.
Yeah,
We did
they're
change them all.
all changed.
And there were some passwords that we were using that needed to have been changed for a long time because they were
Long
not
time.
great.
Yeah, no, I saw
Uh,
some of them that were like 5 years old when I was in there changing them.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, they're much greater now. Thank you to password generators.
Mhm.
That helps a whole lot.
So it's no longer Leo is number 1 as the password?
No, well, that's on a couple of things, but not in anything important
He
anymore.
might
Okay.
have changed them back,
Unfortunately,
you never know.
you know,
Probably.
actually, yeah, that's true.
So I got all those password changed and I got that fixed and I finished the soldering and showing how to convert one of the HBS 770s to MMCX. Also, because I was doing it and I was all set up, I got a couple of other videos recorded and ready to go for a later date, either on mintCast, if there's an interest, let me know if there's an interest, or on my own channel for when I decide to start it. I do have one video on there. Um, I, w- but during the week while working, I got some more soldering done during the really boring meetings. And I was originally planning on recording that, but I really needed that solder therapy at that point, the stress relief. Um, with as busy as I've been, I haven't really been able to play any Borderlands in the last 2 weeks, and that kind of sucks. But more than that, I really haven't done a lot Linux related, other than, I did have to install and start using Kden Live, and it's definitely not the
Oh.
most intuitive Linux experience that I have ever had. I had to trim some out of one video, and I had to adjust the mic volume on another video.
Mhm.
I learned a bit, and I'll hopefully be able to keep using it and get that experience again in the future. I do need to branch out a bit more and start finding interesting things to troubleshoot and solder, especially if I'm planning on putting it on YouTube. I'm sure, everybody wants to see the same fixes over and over again on a set of HPS LG 770s.
Yeah.
I also need to work on my camera angles and trimming a video to keep it interesting and watchable. I've read the statistics that 8-minute videos are about the best on YouTube for getting people to watch it completely. And a 40-minute video to an hour-long video on soldering just isn't going to cut it. I need to trim it down to the interesting parts.
Well, those long ones are meant to be streamed, like for people to
Yeah.
interact with you while you're doing it. If you're
Yeah.
trying to like convey an idea or do something, yeah, trim that down to the bare essentials and it'll get way better play.
Yeah. I did get invited to do an interview with another podcast from a listener, Matt from LibreQuest. I know
Oh,
we've
wait,
mentioned him on the
on
show
his
before.
on his podcast?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
And you should check out his podcast. It's kind of awesome. But the interview fell through. There was a timing problem. So it hasn't happened yet. It's been rescheduled for next week. And what's really interesting is he lives really close by. So hopefully one of these days, I know that there's a whole bunch of other podcasters that live in this area. I'd love to do a meetup of some kind. And I also invited him because he says, he's always been a major fan of the Linux Link Tech Show. And I've been on there for like 5 years, and we're actually running kind of low on interesting hosts. I mean, Joel kind of takes over at this point. Not Joe, Joel.
Yeah.
But so I invited him on there, and I also invited him on the Linux Lugcast since it's on the same server. And I think he will really enjoy it, and it'll bring some new and interesting things onto the show.
Yeah.
Also, I try to get in some heavy lifting on the weekends. like my own weightlifting on the weekends because I enjoy it. But with all of the extra gym time I've been getting, I'm trying to take it easy these 2 days. So I've basically done nothing. I do need to adjust how much sitting I do during work, though.
Oh man.
Yeah, my back is really starting to suffer from it. So, but considering that my job is to stare at a computer screen and type all day, and maybe a standing desk will help, maybe it won't. About the only other techie thing that I've done is upgrade the springs on my 3D printer. It's a really simple upgrade. I mean, unscrew, pull off the old spring, put on the new spring, screw it back together. And I haven't seen much of a change on the print quality yet, and I haven't done too many prints, but the bed leveling seems about the same. It's not, unadjusting itself any more or less than it was before. But I'll let you know if I do notice an overall change in how often I have to level the bed.
Hey,
And
here's an idea. Seriously, what I think would be interesting to watch is set up a camera and have it record the print from start to finish, and then just do a time lapse of that.
there's a
And
lot of that on the internet. And a lot of times I just love sitting there and watching my 3D printer
Right.
go. It is very cathartic.
Yeah, I like watching that kind of thing because I just like watching stuff get built.
Yeah.
And then those time lapse ones are really cool. I mean, it's just a good thing.
And I know
Uh,
like Octopi has that functionality built in. If you have a camera hooked up to it, it'll take one picture per level,
ah,
and then you can adjust the speed of the playback from that.
that's super cool. Well, having the video though would allow. I mean, it would be a long video, I would imagine. But I mean, if you could record that much, you can do some really cool editing with it. So I think that would be awesome.
Don't blame me for that. Blame Leo. He dragged it out.
Are you
Yeah,
kidding me? I added
it's
20
Leo's fault.
seconds.
It's Leo's fault.
I added 20 seconds to your 10-minute monologue. Yeah.
No. See, if you take out all the times you were talking, it was exactly 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. I got you. I got you.
And Tony, what have you been up to?
So, as those listeners from the last show know, I was at Woodbrook for a week. Came back on Friday after we recorded the last show, and I brought home a load of rhubarb from Woodbrook. So I made 14 pounds of rhubarb and apple jam this week. It's absolutely delicious. It's great on toast, particularly sourdough toast.
I need to make me a loaf of bread today. So yes.
I love me some
sourdough.
rhubarb.
It's
Dude,
not that
you need to make
I've
yourself
made
some
2.
strawberry rhubarb crisp.
Oh, that sounds nice. So this week I've been having further issues with my Tower PC and Mint 20.1 after I upgraded to the 5.11.xx kernel. It's been giving me loads of grief. I tried upgrading it to 20.2. That didn't resolve it. I'm getting loads of strange freezes and having to do a hard reboot. So I've reverted to using my 19.3 install on the other 1 terabyte drive that I've got, and I'm probably going to do a fresh install on the other drive and start anew and see if I can resolve the issues. I might even download the Cinnamon with the 5.11 kernel and see if that's stable, seeing as it's actually been built for it. I don't know yet. I'll see. But watch this space, so to say. And then I successfully upgraded one of my laptops, my Dell E7440, to 20.2. This was already running 20.1, and it was working fine before, and it's still working fine after the upgrade. I don't use it for an awful lot. I browse the net with it and stuff like that. Do a little bit of occasional graphic stuff, but mainly it's my laptop for when I'm watching telly and I want to do something in the background. But I also updated my little Dell E7250, which is my print machine that's got a dual boot with Tumbleweed and Windows 10, because I cannot get print software to work for this particular printer in Linux. So I boot into the Windows install when I need to print any color stuff. My brother grayscale printer works brilliantly. I've never had an issue with that. It's been plugged into my Linux box for the last 5 years and never missed a beat. But I cannot get this HP working. But I was really impressed. I hadn't upgraded either of those two installs on the Dell for probably 6 to 8 weeks, and Tumbleweed just ran through the upgrade, rebooted, everything fine, no problem. And although the Windows 10 install took a little longer to upgrade, that worked okay as well. So that's what I've been doing, apart from a little bit of modelling as well. But yeah, what have you been up to, Mike?
Is hold on before we go on. Sorry. That E7440 on Tumbleweed. Did you try your HP
No,
printer
no,
on
no.
that?
It's the E7250. It's the 12-inch
Oh,
little ultrabook.
I got you. So
Uh,
so if Tumbleweed's on there, it's definitely got one of the newer kernels. Have you tried the HP printer on that?
yeah, that's the one I'm using as my print
Oh,
server.
okay. And
Yeah,
it is working or
and
isn't working?
well, it works with Windows. It won't work with
Right,
anything
right,
else. It
right,
won't
right.
work with Linux.
How weird. Because HP Lip is really good
I
about
know.
all the HP things.
The annoying thing is, everything can see the printer,
Yeah.
and it'll send a signal to the printer, and the little light flashes, and nothing happens.
Oh man. Okay. Okay. HP Lip is
Anyway, we're
good.
getting into the
99.
innards now.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, your turn.
You're
You're
muted.
muted.
All right. Well, I guess it's been a little while since I've been on, so I guess I should probably start by reminding everyone that I run Arch, by the way. And no, I've been just really busy with work. Beginning of summer is always my busy season for work, so lots of travel, lots of hotel stays, not a lot of tech stuff, but I've been trying to get some projects in where I can. One of the cool things that I've been doing over the last month and a half or so is a buddy of mine got an INL retro dumper, which allows you to make ROMs from your old retro video games. So as I've mentioned here before, I think probably everybody knows this about me by now, but I'm a huge retro gamer. I have just about every old Nintendo system except for a Virtual Boy and the Wii U because I just don't really care about the Wii U. So I have a
No,
huge retro collection.
nobody cared about the Wii U.
Not so much, nah.
Nobody really cared about the Virtual Boy either.
That's
Oh, and that
true.
was sad too, because I mean, who didn't want to watch entire video games in red?
My brother had one when we were kids. I was about 11 or 12, I can't remember, but he had one, and it was actually as bad as they claim it was.
Yeah,
It's
it'll
even
make
as
you
kids,
sick.
we hated it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I
got
had a
headaches.
friend. I had a friend that had one, and I mean, what was that game where you were like at the top of a cylindrical thing, and then you shot little things down to stuff that was crawling up, and you were basically meant to just I forget what that game is called, but it was just white and black, white lines on black. But that's what the Virtual Boy felt like. It
Yeah,
felt like
it was no good.
1980s all over again.
Yeah, yeah, it was like a step back in the '90s.
Mhm.
But, well, yeah, with this INL retro dumper, it's really cool. So I can take my old NES and Super NES cartridges, and which I have done, and I spent about a weekend and converted them all to ROMs. I haven't really messed with emulation in the past because I already own these systems, so I typically prefer to play on actual hardware. But I've just been so busy lately, and the older I get, the more lazy I become. So it really just
Dude,
gets to be a pain of hooking these systems up and taking them down, switching them out all the time. I don't have a million
are
TVs.
are you seriously telling me you've never done a Raspberry Pi MAME?
Haven't.
Fix
All
that.
of Up until Memorial Day weekend of this year, I have not ever emulated a video game in my life.
Wow, that's insane.
Not ever.
I can't
So,
abide.
I spent all of Memorial Day weekend. I converted my entire Super Nintendo and NES collection using the INO Retro Dumper, and then the same buddy also has a modified Wii, which allows me to dump my GameCube games to use in Dolphin.
Cool.
So it's actually really cool. Between Dolphin and RetroArch, I have my entire retro video game collection essentially on my laptop that I can take with me when I travel for work. And to be honest, I've actually been using it a lot more than the consoles themselves because it's just so convenient to just kind
So
of
wait,
pop in and out of a game.
are you saying that I can say that I run? By the way, I run Retro Arch.
So I run modern and retro, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it's been really cool, and, as everybody knows, Nintendo's my favorite company. I would never ever do anything to hurt them, so these ROMs that I've made are all strictly ancient games that I own. Nobody's making any money off of them anymore. I would never do this with current games, so it's okay. And, aside from that, the other thing that I've been working on, which surprisingly took me a long time, was, setting up a Mac OS virtual machine. I've been on Linux now for about 2.5 years, I believe. And in the time that I've been on Linux, I hear a lot of people talking about how to set up Windows virtual machines and whatnot, which is it's all well and good, but I don't come from a Windows background, so I never really wanted one of those. I've always used Mac, so I finally found this project by a developer called Foxlit, who created Mac OS Simple KVM. I've linked the GitHub in the show notes, so you can check it out there if you want to see it. But what it does is it essentially allows you to create a KVM Mac OS virtual machine. You can integrate it with Virt Manager to have a nice GUI if you want, and it's a fully functioning, fully working Mac OS VM. Took me, if I'm remembering right, probably about 6 hours or so to finish the project, but the vast majority of that time was just downloading. So it's
Oh,
dead
okay.
simple. There's really not much to it. If you can follow basic instructions, and you'll probably get this going. And aside from that, in real life, a couple weeks ago, I finally get out and do my very first bluegrass jam of the season.
Ooh.
Bluegrass jam, in case for the people who aren't initiated, it's just very simply just guitarists and musicians, banjo players. We had fiddlers, but everybody just kind of gathers together and we just jam for about an hour, 2 hours or so, and the weather was nice, so we did this one outside in a park, and we all just kind of gathered around picnic tables, and it was a good time. We had a guy who brought a really cool slide guitar, which I just love. I absolutely love slide guitar, even though I can't play it. And yeah, I just realized Moss isn't here anymore, so nobody cares about
Yeah.
this. So that's all I got.
He would have jumped on that bluegrass real
Yeah,
quick.
Moss, this is for
So
you.
before we move on, how well did that VM work, the Mac VM?
I had no issues with it. The only thing, if you follow the instructions, it's gonna set you up with I want to say something like 4 GB or something like that. You definitely
Mm,
have to go into the configs and make some adjustments to tailor to your machine.
right.
If you're wanting full screen, obviously you'll have to go in, change the resolution. I bumped up the RAM to 8 GB so that I could run it kind of closer to bare metal,
Mhm.
and just devoted more cores to it because they give you a pretty bare bones setup. You'll want to kill yourself if you stick with the setup that the project gives by default.
Right. I guess they're trying to be conservative because I mean, anybody that runs it would probably be able to run with those
Mm.
settings, but
I
yeah,
have
you
to
need.
ask,
Mhm.
what's your favorite retro system?
Probably Nintendo 64.
Oh yeah,
Oh, the
yeah.
hardest
I
to emulate. It's
I I
It
it's
agree.
is.
almost completely impossible to emulate.
It
Yeah.
is. That's why I didn't mention that in my RetroArch thing because I won't even bother.
It's
It's
because the reason it's everybody's favorite is because they can't emulate it.
Hmm.
yeah,
It's the one that teases you so much. Like, you want to play Mario 64? Not
On one of the,
today.
alternate Saturday shows, we're gonna have to set up, like, a Genesis stream or something, and just each
yeah.
of us playing a Genesis game that we
The
love.
the
I
thing
would love
about
that.
that is one of my favorites is that a lot of those emulators have network compatibility so that I can play and you can play and then one of us can stream it.
Yeah,
Like,
NetPlay.
yes, let's do that. I'm 100% on board with
That
that.
would be
Let's
so
let's do
awesome.
And
that.
then maybe one weekend, PS1 playthroughs.
Mm.
Anything. I think all of our hardware is pretty good to be able to play any of this, but yeah, we just need to actually do it.
Now, not to take up
Do
too
it.
much time, but since you guys are kind of mentioning it, one thing that I noticed in looking at making ROMs and whatnot,
Mm.
is that apparently to emulate PS2, you actually need a BIOS file from a real
Yes.
working PS2.
Well,
That's crazy.
those live on the internet as
Oh
well,
yeah,
but
of
you do,
course.
They're
and
everywhere. You can pick them
and
up easy enough.
the PS1 requires that as well. You have
Really?
to, yeah, but most of the
Wow.
emulators.
I
So
think the
like,
GameCube does too.
No, no. Oh, well,
yeah,
not on Dolphin at least.
yeah,
I set up Dolphin with no issues. I didn't have to add any kind of a BIOS to it.
yeah. The whole point of that is that they couldn't ship the BIOS with the thing that would break like international trade
Terms.
law,
Yeah.
whatever. So
Copyright issues.
yeah, it's separate, but you can easily find them.
By the way, have any of you guys ever used Dolphin before? The GameCube emulator?
A little bit, not for does it do 64?
No, it does GameCube and Wii,
Oh, so
but
I just didn't have a lot of games on the Wii that I would like to play, but I did have a couple. Like, because the best game on Wii is bowling.
oh yeah, oh of course,
Like, you can't emulate that because you got to get the controller and everything, and
right.
yeah,
But no, it's just wow. Dolphin is a really incredible piece of software.
yeah.
It's so powerful. I mean, you can really change a million and one different things. It's great. So if anybody out there is into retro video gaming, particularly GameCube, give Dolphin a shot.
Hmm.
Before we move on,
Wait,
which we will, yeah,
I'm,
I'm starting to feel like a dinosaur. All you guys talking about getting old, I'm starting to feel like a dinosaur.
That's okay.
Wait,
I'm
okay.
feeling pretty good. Leo's section and Mike's section were both longer than mine. So
Wait, Tony, you're only just now starting to feel like a dinosaur?
Oh man,
I'm just kidding.
Joe, we're gonna do some measurements on that. I feel like that's not a true statement.
no, it's true.
Hey,
No,
no measuring on the show.
we're gonna make this section even longer. All right. Well, that'll do it for our wanderings. Do let us know. Give us some feedback on, is this a good format? Does it bother you? Do you care at all? I'd like to see those emails. Like, we do something that we think is gonna make people mad, and then nobody cares. I like those emails because it's like, yeah, I'm glad that you don't care and that it makes it easier on us and we can do it and it doesn't blow anything up. So whatever you think about it, let us know. I'd love to know.
Do you
And
want us to cut out the wanderings entirely?
Ooh. Oh no,
Mm.
that's where I talk trash to everybody. We can't do that. All right, well that'll do it, and yeah, we'll move on down to the Linux innards. The moment you've all been waiting for. We alluded to it in the first half of the show, but we all, right? All installed Linux Mint 20.2 in either bare metal or an upgrade. Ooh, we'll talk about that in Check This Out. I want to check that out. So yeah, everybody upgraded or installed or something, one or the other. Tony, what was your experience like?
Right. Well, before it was released as a main release, I'd stuck the 20.2 beta into boxes and just had a look at it that way. Didn't seem much different. So as soon as the release came out, I stuck it on my Dell E7440, as I've already said, and that was fine. The one thing I was hoping, as I've alluded to, is that the fact that they've upgraded the HP Lit supposedly to give more support to HP printers, was my printer was going to work. So last night, after the pre-show chat, I went and had a look. Brought the laptop in here, plugged it into the printer, set the printer up. I managed to get it to recognise that the printer was there. Sent a file to it. The little light flashed. Nothing happened. Not a sausage. So I'm still having a problem. And I've done it 2 or 3 different ways. I've done it through the GUI print manager, added new printer. It recognises there's one there. Done it that way. Same result. I've used the cups, gone into the cups browser management system, tried it there. Same result. It says it's sending the document to the print, and it shows up in the print documents, but nothing happens. Doesn't print anything.
So we
Like I
kind of talked
say,
about it.
it's the first printer in 10 years of using Linux that I've not been able to get working.
How weird. So we talked about it in the first half, but you tried this as well on Tumbleweed, OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, right?
Yeah,
And still nothing.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's got to be info on the internet about
There,
this particular
has got to be
printer.
a problem. It's a problem somewhere, but I don't know what it is. Because, like I say, it's sending data to the printer because the light starts flashing.
hmm
So I can't see what's going wrong. There's something going wrong. It's either corrupting the data on the way, or it's not recognizing the format that the data's hitting the printer. I don't know.
How weird. And I mean, it's not like you're dealing with PPD files or anything like that to get the
Nope.
driver to
No.
work. It's HP lib that it handles all of it, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. How weird is that? I mean,
Well,
I've,
like I
I've
say, I
never
can
had.
open up a Word. I can open up a writer document in LibreOffice, and it actually shows the printer. It shows both. If I use it on my desktop machine, it shows me brother and the HP.
Right.
You set it to send it to the HP, and nothing happens. You send it to the brother, prints perfectly.
Mm. Yeah, because I've got a brother printer here, and I've never had any issues with it. I mean, it finds the correct driver immediately. You just click next a few times, and you can start printing to it. But
Yeah.
I've had HP printers at work. I mean, there were 3 different ones, and the old tried and true, what is it, LaserJet 2100, the one that you found everywhere for a while. That one always worked with HP lib, and then we had this big monstrous one that was color laser, and I had to finagle it a little bit a couple of times, but I mean 90% of the time I try to install that printer, it just works. So
Mm,
how weird though. HP is always top tier on Linux, but not with that printer.
yeah. So hence me having to use Windows 10.
Right. Yeah, no shame in that, man. I mean, you got to make your hardware work, and if Windows 10 is the one that's going to do it, well, then
Yeah. It's
what
a
are you gonna
great
do?
printer as well. Cracking
Yeah.
printer.
Yep.
Anyway, so apart from that, like I say, all the other stuff that they've changed doesn't really impact on me because most of it is stuff that I've never used or doesn't really come into my remit. So you're
Right.
talking about those spice things and all that. I've never touched a spice in my life.
Yeah. Well, I gotta have a transparent bar, man. I put the bar up at the top, and I gotta make it transparent. Well, the way I have it now is it's like it's darker at the top, and it kind of fades to fully transparent at the
Yeah.
bottom, so you know it's there.
But
And
they're only in cinnamon anyway, aren't they?
oh, that's right.
I'm on
You're a mate
Mate.
guy. That's right. So you don't even.
Yeah.
I think you can do transparent on that, but yeah, a lot of the other spices don't work because
Yeah.
cinnamon. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's my experience anyway.
Yeah, I'm still on the mate page, but I mean, it's pretty much exactly the same in cinnamon. This is one thing I haven't seen yet, which I'm kind of excited to see, is updates are available, 16 security, 21 software, all that. And then you can enable automatic updates. I think I'm going to enable automatic updates for my spices. I don't know if I can do it just for spices, but if I can, that will probably likely be what I will enable automatically because I've got PPAs in Mint that I don't want it to update automatically, like the Mesa. I mean, that's my video driver. So I want to do that only when I have plenty of time to go back and remove the PPA, start over, start from scratch, and try again. I will never automatically update that one. But like wine would be good to automatically update. I always want the newest wine. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. I haven't experienced just yet. Oh yeah, there it is. Fantastic. Look at this. Update cinnamon spices automatically. Check. My
And
flat.
update flat packs automatically.
Yes. So that was the thing that I really was kind of looking forward to because Flatpaks only got updated when you logged in, and if you never logged out this machine, then you would never get updated Flatpaks, which is not great. So this will fix a lot of that, though I don't know if I want it to happen. I think I'm gonna let it stay in the software updater and just check them when I want them. Because there are some. Let me see. Let me do a quick little.
Now,
flat
will
pack.
software updaters show the flat packs? Because before they didn't even show them in there. Will they actually show them in
Yes.
Update Manager? Oh, awesome.
Yes. So, Plex Amp and Flat Seal and Element, those can all update automatically. Bitwarden as well. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will. I don't have anything that I just need to not be the highest. Everything is. Yeah, no, I think I will. I think I'll just leave it alone. Hmm. I'll flip that on too. Cool. That is really cool. I love now that there are automatic updates for specific things. I get that there's a lot of people that don't really enjoy automatic updates, but um I mean for this, absolutely. For Mesa, yeah, I'll handle that one. Thank you very much, Linux Mint. I do appreciate it though. Did anybody get any chance to mess with the bulk file renamer?
Nah, I really don't have a
Yeah.
use for that.
Yeah, I know it's
No.
useful to some folks, but it ain't useful to me. So I wish you luck. If
Where
you end up
that
using it.
would be useful if you're importing a load of photos with just the photo files and you want to bulk
Yes,
rename them for say what they were. So where
exactly.
what the day and where you took them. That would
Mhm.
be very useful for that.
Exactly. Yeah. If Pix doesn't do that for you, or whatever photo manager you use doesn't do that for you, man, Bulky will handle that. And I think the same thing about ripping old albums and things like that. It's easy to rename a lot of those files easily. Um, Yeah, I mean that's really kind of it. I mean, if you can do this stuff on the command line, then this is nothing new. But this is for folks that I think, want that capability without having to learn all the commands to make it happen. When you gotta introduce pipes into it, I think you've gone too far. It's no longer easy. But sticky notes is something that I'm using all the time. I loved them on Windows 7. I hated the fact that it was only in that crappy cursive font. And then you had to like go into the registry editor to actually change that. That was terrible. But this is not terrible because it's just like that. You get more than one color at a time. You could always change them back in Windows 7 to a different color, but they would all be that color. And so now you can have different colors. My other favorite thing is the feature that they've got with the work and home. Like you can set up profiles. So like after 5 o'clock, you turn off those sticky notes because I don't want to see that crap because that's work. And then I turn on my don't forget to play 7 hours of World of Warcraft today note, right? Like that's what you need to see. And that is really, really cool. Uh I still use Warpinator, it still works. That's great. I haven't really um seen much difference on that because I don't have the feature that they've added was the dual network card, but you can choose which one uses Warpinator. I only have one setup that has dual NICs, but I only ever use one at a time, so that doesn't really affect me too terribly much. But that was it's a good one. And then,
Hey,
as I mentioned before, oh, what was that? Oh, oh, there's a cat. Maybe it's the cat. But as I mentioned before, Cinnamon is using slightly less memory. It's not noticeable really. But I thought that was really pretty fantastic. So I was telling Mike before the show, I had to come up with something that broke because everything is fine on my machine. But right after, so only one machine did this. The other two machines did not do this. So I upgraded two and I installed from scratch one. But the laptop, my T450S, when I upgraded it, everything went fine. There were no errors or anything like that. The issue happened when I opened up the menu the first time. So the little Linux Mint icon in the bottom left or top left or whatever, you open that up and it's got all your applications in it. For some weird reason, it it was very wide. I don't know why, but it stretched halfway across the screen, but I didn't have any applications that had names that long. So as I was kind of scrolling through, I noticed that LibreOffice has a really long description, and I blamed it on that. But as I kept looking, I realized that in my recent files, there were also super duper long names. So it was one of those two things, and of course, I did it the most unscientific way I possibly could and just did both at the same time. I uninstalled LibreOffice, and I cleared my recent, file history, and I opened up the menu, and it was still there. So I'm like, "Okay, well, maybe after a reboot or something." So I logged out and logged back in, and it was fixed. So I just needed to restart Cinnamon before those changes took effect. But at that point, I didn't know. I don't know if it was because I uninstalled LibreOffice or because I cleared my recent history that it fixed. But now my menu is normal sized again, and that's nice.
That's a really weird bug. It sounds like it causes like the title to not truncate or something.
Yeah, that's quite literally it. Because I'm looking at my menu now, and there are file names that are massive
Hmm.
in recent files, and the description underneath is massive, but they both get truncated with that ... at the end, so that you don't end up in a situation like that. So I don't know why Cinnamon decided that I needed to have a 12-foot long menu, but it did. And apparently clearing those two things, or clearing recent files. If this happens to you, is what I'm trying to say is, if this happens to you, clear recent files, log out and log in. That will likely fix it. It probably had nothing to do with LibreOffice. I just never used LibreOffice, and I was like, well, I'll just get rid of it then, and then we'll see what happens. So yeah, clear your recent files. It'll probably fix you. But yeah, I had to dig deep. I had to dig real deep to find something that I didn't like or something that went wrong in the upgrade. But over 3 installations, two of them coming from 20.1 and one of them installing from scratch, everything was fantastic. It was so fantastic. So, Joe, what was your experience like?
Well, my cat has decided that I can't be a podcaster anymore.
I
So
saw that he was crawling
yeah,
all over your face,
yeah, he was
and
pushing my mic out of the way,
yeah.
and well,
See,
now he's being all cute next to me. So
yeah. See, more stuff that you miss if you're just podcast only, right? You got to go find us
right.
on YouTube and watch this cat show his butt to you.
And the joke that I'm holding inside right now is literally killing me.
Well,
Uh,
you shouldn't hold it inside. You should let it out.
We have to keep it a PG show, though.
That's
Uh,
true. It's true. It's true.
who told you that?
I think that was
Disney
Tony,
level,
right?
man. If we're gonna we gotta stay a
Disney
Discord
Dis
community,
Dis
.
Disney made Deadpool. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what I mean.
All right. I was able to do the update on one of my machines, just one of them out of the 2 major machines that I use, like, almost every day, using the update manager, and that worked really well, really simple. Shut it down, turn it back on, everything worked. Um, I do like that you can control the amount of memory that Cinnamon can use, but other than that, it really seems like more of the same. No real major changes seem to have an impact on my workflow. But like I said during the wanderings, I have not had a lot of time to do an in-depth review. Um, but from my reading, another good thing that I see is the control over the update notifications that you can get. That's always appreciated. I know that they were trying to push more to show you more of the notifications, and there was some pushback on that. So now you decide how often you see those notifications updates. And the fact that the update manager, and I know it was already mentioned, but now directly from the update manager, you can see Flatpaks or the software manager. You can
So
see
useful,
Flatpaks.
man. So
Yeah,
useful.
so you can do all of that directly from there, and it seems like a very incremental update, but it's also a very good one.
So on the Flatpak thing, does anybody know of another distribution that puts Flatpaks front and center like that? Because I think most distros are just like, Flatpak will handle itself, and it
Well,
usually kind of does. But Mint
well,
is the only one that I know of that will, you install the application. Why don't you see it like all the applications? And Mint is the only one that I know of that has done that.
well,
I mean, Fedora does, right?
Ubuntu did the same thing with snaps.
Wait. Oh, yeah, yeah, I guess so. Oh, that's right. That's right. So the thing I don't like about GNOME in general, and this is why I think I put them in different categories in my mind for some reason, is that they don't really give you an option to decide what you want to upgrade. You like upgrade 90% of the system and then also the Flatpaks, or you just upgrade 90% of the system. There's no way to say, I don't want that. I don't want this. And I think that's why I like Mint. I think that's why it's separate in my mind. There's the ability to be picky and choosy about what you do at what time. So more control over my system, I think, is what I'm getting at.
The flat packs being able to be updated automatically is good because they've had the flat packs in the software center for quite a while now. So you can go into the software center, and if you've got the application there in the repos and in FlatHub, you can just install it. you can choose which one you want to do. If you want the latest and greatest, if that's available as a flat pack, you can install that. So the fact that they now update automatically if you set that is fantastic, because if you've installed it through that, you obviously want it and you want to upgrade it.
That's one thing though that I will say. The Software Center could use some love as far as how regular repo applications and Flatpak applications, when both exist, how that's handled. I kind of like the way that GNOME software does it, in that you click on the app, but both of them are in there, and you have a drop-down box to choose which one it is. I think that's a pretty good way to handle the issue, but Linux Mint, as far as I can tell, it's just shows them on separate lines with Flatpak and parens. So it's not bad. It's easier to see. It's easier to find, because I think that drop down is hard to find in GNOME. If you know it's there, then it's fine. But otherwise, it can you can totally miss stuff.
Cool.
Okay, now my cat has decided that I'm not a podcaster. He is.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, that's what the bell was. If you were wondering what the little jingly was a little while ago, cat. They got to know where it is, so they put a bell on it, and it's always right here, so you don't need the bell. So, Mike, how did you fare?
Pretty short and sweet. I only upgraded one of my machines to 22. Not my work machine, just kind of my mess around machine. I know I joke a lot about how I use Arch, but Mint is actually my daily driver. It's what I use the most. It's my work machine, so I typically wait about a full month or so before I upgrade my work machine, just because I really need that to be rock solid. On the machine that I did upgrade, though, no problems at all. I'd go so far as really to kind of call it a boring update. And I mean that in a good way. Boring is the main reason why I use Mint, because boring to me means very stable. I love the sticky notes. When I ultimately do upgrade my work machine, I'm going to use the heck out of that. Um, and then the spices update I really love too, because I think I only have 2 spices, but I always forget to go in and check to see if they need an update or not. But yeah, that's really about it. Everything else you guys have covered, I feel pretty much the same. I'm happy to see Flatpak updates in there. Um, I don't really use Warpinator at all, so that's nothing to me. But and the batch file renamer, like I said, I probably won't have a use for that. But aside from that, I didn't have any issues that went wrong with mine. So another successful upgrade with Mint.
Can't beat that. The Warpinator thing, I think, will be really important to me if/when an iOS version comes out. Because the Android one exists, and so you can apparently push files back and forth with an Android device. That is fantastic. Something that I think a lot of the um, Linux-based sharing apps don't do. But yeah, when the iOS one comes out, oh, I'll be so happy. That'll be so nice.
So I actually use, unfortunately, I have a lifetime subscription to pCloud. Not unfortunately, but I obtained a lifetime subscription to pCloud before Warpinator existed. So I've always used pCloud to kind of just push files to all my machines. So
So is that
unfortunately,
Linux as well?
it works on Linux. Yeah, it's I don't. They're not fully open source, but they have crypto storage and whatnot. This is similar to like a Google Drive thing, but way more secure.
Nifty. I like it. So, hey, you get 10 gigs of free storage if you sign up today. Ooh.
Hmm.
And just a reminder, they don't sponsor the show.
But they can if they want.
Yeah, I would not say no.
I sponsor them, so they should sponsor us.
Hey,
Yes,
see,
yes, you
that's
you
it.
probably would say no, because we have no idea how to set it up or how to split it up
Well,
or anything like that.
because I've been thinking about, keeping it out of the cloud or whatever. I was thinking about using SyncThing to move files between us. If we ever wanted to get rid of Google Drive for at least the storage part, the multiplayer document, I think is fantastic. Though I don't know if we'd ever be able to drop that, but yeah, the file sharing thing would be way cooler with SyncThing, because that would mean that everybody had a copy of the file. And then if anybody, blows up their copies of the file, they can just
Well,
pull
you
it back
could do
from
the
us again.
same thing with Resilio Sync.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah,
willing
I
to do
mean,
anything besides Google.
right. Yeah, exactly. So one of these days we'll move away, but that day still ain't today. All right. Well, That'll do it for our thoughts on Linux Mint 20.2. If you have thoughts or issues or anything like that, please write us at the show, mintcast@mintcast.org, or just hop into the Telegram, Discord, whatever, and have a chat with us about it. It's been, seems like to me, it's been pretty stable for everybody, but if you are in the batch that did not get stability as you upgraded, let us know. All right, and with that, we'll head down to the feedback. Tony, I think this one from Brad is for you.
Okay, I'll take this.
All right.
So, Brad Alexander. Actually, it's funny. I'm behind on my podcast, a side effect of not having to spend 4 to 5 hours a day in the car. Understand that one. So I just listened to 36.5 and 363. And as Tony said, he was doing a rewatch of Babylon 5. The best sci-fi series, possibly of all time. At least I believe it is the best I've encountered. I've not yet delved into The Expanse, but it beats the other two serial sci-fi series that I have watched, Deep Space Nine and Battlestar Galactica. If nothing else, B5 has the best series finale in TV history. Every
Honestly,
time I watch it,
you're not
Go on.
setting the bar too high there with DS9 and Battlestar Galactica.
Hey, DS9 is my favorite of all time.
Oh, well, it depends on where you start watching DS9 from. If you start in the middle of DS9 and watch towards the end, it's garbage. Hot,
Come on, this
flaming
is Brad.
garbage.
This is Brad's email, not yours, Joe.
Go for it.
So, as he said, B5 is the best series finale in TV history. Every time I watch it, the last 40 minutes, I'm sitting there with tears streaming down my face. So, my birthday was 2 weeks ago, and I decided as a happy birthday to me present, I decided to do a rewatch myself. I'm about 3/4 of the way through season 2 using the JMS watch order. Yeah, that's about where I'm at the moment. I'm just about to rewatch And Now for a Word, which is the interstellar news one that they did. Yeah, that's good. So, and you're right. You're right. The audio guide to Babylon 5 is a great per episode podcast. You should have also, if you have time, check out the older Babylon podcast, and he gives a link for that in the show. The casts include Jeffrey Willerth, who was the actor in Koshi's Encounter Suit. It ran 7 years as an interview and has interviews and the like. Also worth listening to. And he signs that Jack. Sorry. No, Jack's the next one.
Jack is the next
I've
one.
got over.
And
Yeah.
Jack, I need you to stop giving me amazing software, okay? Because I installed Micro during the show because I was like, oh, it's just like Nano then. I mean, what's the big deal? Okay, turns out Nano is kind of insane sometimes with the key bindings that you use.
Well,
So I'm very Control X to cut, Control C to copy, and Control V to paste, right? Not in Nano. There,
Just
I don't
Control-Shift.
even. Yeah,
well,
it's
Control Shift C, Control Shift V. It's the exact same commands that you use on terminal.
Joe. We just talked about this about Alt Z and mute. I want one key, Joe. I want the minimum amount of
Well, you
keys
just
to
asked
get
for
a
2
job done.
keys a second ago.
No, I know. What I'm saying is, if it can be done with one key, I want it. If it can't, 2, but
Switch
definitely
to
not 3.
Emacs. Try that.
No, I won't.
How many
switch to
keys you have
Emacs.
to use there?
You want to know how many keys I have to use in Micro? The exact right amount of keys. That's what you do, and you know which ones
No.
they are.
It does sound interesting because
Now, children.
no, 'cause Nano is very, very minimalistic. It doesn't have the colors and
Yep.
all that stuff that I've seen.
Oh, it does. It does. It does have color coding.
Oh,
Yeah, I got
okay,
colors.
okay.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool. But the nice thing about it is that it uses the same commands as the terminal.
Right. True. Totally. And every time I get into Nano, I just have this in my mind that it's gonna behave like Notepad, and this is because I grew up with a Windows machine, and anytime I see a background with text on it, that's what I expect, and I can't shake it for some reason. In VI or Vim, I feel like I'm in a totally different place because it accepts commands and all kinds of weird stuff. So I don't feel like I have that same issue with the heavier lifting text editors. But with Nano, I just expect it to be super simple, and my mind is like, oh yeah, Control X right here. Nope, it's not what that happened. That's not what it did. So that I think is really where this shines. So anyway, the whole point of this is I was supposed to read this email. So here we go. So Jack writes in, says, Micro is a nice editor that is much nicer than Nano. I did not believe him. It's just a single file to download, or you can build it. Has colors, syntax, highlighting, undo, sensible keys such as Control S, Control Q, Control V, and Control Z, which do exactly what you expect them to do. Split views, multiple tabs, good mouse support, what's not to like. And the last thing,
Hold on, hold on.
yeah,
He has those capitalized.
what?
He has
Ooh.
those capitalized, so I bet you gotta hit shift.
You don't.
Oh.
I'm literally doing it right now. You do not have to do it. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. The keys didn't sell me. The syntax highlighting didn't sell me because Nano can do those things. The syntax highlighting, it can do undo, and all of that stuff. It's just I gotta look down at the bottom and remember what key combo it is to make that work. And then they integrate in Alt in there as well, and it's not very clear unless you know what you're looking at, what those things actually mean. Anyway, the point is, Micro's got that on lock, but it's not a killer feature for me. Split views. Now we're talking. Multiple tabs. Okay. Good mouse support. That's the one. It got me. I don't need split views. If I need something that heavy lifting, I'll launch VS Code or something like that. If I need multiple tabs, VS Code as well. So that didn't get me. Mouse support. You can click on things. You can place your mouse cursor
Yeah.
exactly where you want
Okay,
it to
that
be.
is nice, that is nice.
Oh, I love
Yes.
that.
So that thing sold me. I installed Micro. I tested it out. It actually works. I'm sold. I think I can't live without Micro anymore. Because for the same reason, right? For the same reason, I can't get my head wrapped around the weird key combinations that you would use in Nano. I can't wrap my head around not being able to click on stuff because I see it as Notepad, and Micro fixes that for me. All the things that I complained about with Nano are fixed in Micro.
Most of the reason that I stick with Nano is because any Linux system that I sit down to is 99 times out of
I get it.
100
Mm.
gonna have Nano installed. Now, granted,
agree.
most of those systems are probably also gonna have Vim or Emacs installed, but I
Correct.
know which one I'm going to choose out of those 3.
Like, look, let me just arrow down to the one letter I need to change. Okay, I need to get
Right.
rid of a hash mark. I don't need VI to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's sold me, Jack. You've sold me. I hate that you've sold me, but you have sold me, and now I have to install Micro on everything.
Well, now that you've said that about so I'm definitely gonna have to give it a try on my own machine. But yeah, I don't want to get too used to it because I do use machines that aren't mine all the time.
Right, and to that point, don't neglect learning VI or Vim or Nano. One of the two. Just
Look,
get used to them because that's what you're going to be dealing with.
Vim's good.
I've used Vim. I've used Emacs. I have never been happy doing it.
Oh yeah, of course. But know your way around. That way you can get the job done on an unfamiliar machine. On your own machine, like for me, I'll install Fish a lot of times. Ain't nobody in the real world actually use Fish to like to manage actual machines. I mean, you can script it, you do all that stuff, but Fish is a personal choice, and I like it. And now Micro will be another personal choice that I prefer. But I'll know that if I go to work on a machine, it's not gonna have Micro, and I don't want to mess with other people's machines and install it. So Nano it is, but for me, Micro.
I just want to point out that Tony has literally fallen asleep.
He's painting. I feel like he's painting.
He's back.
I was hunting for that podcast on my podcast.
Oh, that's what it is. All right.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So Hank, I touched a nerve with Hank because I talked trash about Raid. Um, because I want to say I don't have it up right now, but I want to say that the subject of the email was why all the raid hate or something like that. I don't hate raid. I just think it's too complex and it doesn't really serve the purpose you want it to serve better than doing something in LVM or using ButterFS at a software level instead of anyway, that's whatever. Let's talk about it and we'll talk about some of these points, but I want to go through most of this email cuz he does make good points. I mean, RAID is good for what it is, but anyway, here we go. I'm guessing that Leo has some history with RAID setups that causes him to rule them out for home users. Yeah, dealing with 40 disks in RAID 5 or RAID 6 or RAID 10, it's annoying. Yeah. Anyway, so he says, I'm mildly curious about that. That's what that was. My experience with various RAID configurations has been entirely positive. My first foray into this was 5 by 200 gigabyte Seagate Barracudas in RAID 5 configuration using MD RAID. So this is the one that's built into the Linux kernel, by the way. That was in late 2004 on my home server. I suppose that my setup goes far past typical home user, but is far short of an enterprise setup. He's got an asterisk, so there's extra down somewhere. In a few years, I can claim to have decades of experience with Linux RAID. In mid 2010, I purchased two 2 terabyte drives and set them up as a mirrored pair and used them as an offsite backup. Again, this was using MD RAID. I used rsync to copy files from my personal PCs to my server, and again from my local server to my remote server, all automated, of course. 4 years ago, I bought a Dell XPS 13, which came with Windows 10. I installed Debian on it, dual boot. Once I was comfortable that everything was working properly, for some definition of properly, Win 10. I installed on ZFS root because I needed to use the then current Buster testing for Wi-Fi drivers. I had fooled around with ZFS on some throwaway installs and was confident enough to try it on a daily driver, which was fully backed up, of course. My local server now hosts 5 by 4 terabyte drives. Ooh, that's a lot. In RAID Z2. And the remote runs 2 mirrored 8 terabyte drives, both using ZFS. My desktop now has 5 500 gigabyte Samsung SSDs in RAID Z1. I ran this for a couple of years with 4 SSDs in a striped set. Then one SSD began to fail, and the drudgery of restoring everything from backups led me to add an SSD, switch to RAID Z1, and sacrifice some performance for redundancy. Now, I just want to, this is not reading, I want to point out that paragraph that he wrote, that's why. I don't want to have to manage it. I was very manage it all. My DigitalOcean droplet, built from scratch. I appreciated that. And then I just wanted it to work and not have to worry about it and deal with it. And so that paragraph right there is pretty much the crux of the issue, but he's got a little bit more, and I'll read some of that. Anyway, so he said, I had hard drives fail on my servers or otherwise require replacement when I need more space in a mirrored pair. I remove one drive, install the new larger drive, copy all the data to the new mirror, replace the other drive from the old RAID with the new larger one, add it to the mirror, and watch while the RAID drivers copy all data to it. I've done this with both ZFS and MD RAID with no difficulties. I've also replaced failed HDDs, hard disks in RAID 5 and RAID 6 configurations with both MD RAID and ZFS without powering down the host system. So, right. That's it. I think that's it. I think a lot of times when people want redundancy, it's not redundancy they want. They just want a backup. They want to be able to let something blow up, but still be safe with their files. And I think the vast majority of people are not going to go to that great of a length to handle it. And I think that's really my only beef with RAID is that it's so complex. And in a situation where you're running bigger disks, right? Like I've got 3-4 terabyte disks that I could put that in RAID. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Any of them. I'd lose a little bit of disk space in the process, but I would gain redundancy, and then I would still also have to maintain a backup. It's expensive. Back when I was, greener, when I learned what RAID stood for, I know it's independent. I know you can at me if you want. It's independent disks, I know. But when I learned it, it was inexpensive. Redundant array of inexpensive disks. They weren't ever really inexpensive. But think about that. A high quality 4 terabyte. Let's look it up right now because this is
Yeah, I guess back in the day when RAID first started, it was a way of taking a whole bunch of old, smaller drives and turning them into something more usable, a
Right.
little bit faster and a little bit more altogether as
Right.
one disc.
Right. So here's the thing. Like you can get a 4 terabyte Western Digital Red Pro because I'm not trying to buy this low cache version 5900 RPM trash that is Western Digital Red in the smaller sizes. I'm not wasting my money on that. I want the good ones. HGST used to be one of my favorite manufacturers until they got absorbed into Western Digital. I mean, that's the deal, right? Like I want good quality, fast drives. I do not want JBOD. I don't want to scour around and find a bunch of different size discs and make them work in RAID Z whatever. I don't want any of
Well,
that. So go ahead.
you're also, not running a giant server, so there's no point in you making up all your speed losses by
Right.
getting 50 red drives.
Well, right. No, exactly. Right. So, I mean, if I wanted that, I would RAID 10. I would try to squeeze out as much performance out of those drives as I possibly could. So my real beef is that it ain't cheap. If I did RAID Z1 or RAID Z, can you do 2? I think you can do 2 with 3 discs, but whatever. You lose about a third of your space and you sacrifice the ability to, in some instances, change the way that your array is set up. But let's say one of your discs dies. Now you have to spend $140 to make it go. So that
And
is really the issue.
everybody loves Suicide Raid. Don't let people lie to you about how horrible it is. You get 15 discs all together, all 500 gig each,
And RAID
and you
0
just
them.
stripe them all.
Right.
And then one dies and you lose all your data.
Yeah. So I wanted to go to 6 or 8 terabytes, and that gets really expensive. So that's the thing, right? I don't have $200 laying around if a disk dies. So it's going to be degraded for months, and that's going to put strain on the other disks. And that means that those disks are now more likely to fail. So I don't want to put myself in that position. I don't hate RAID. RAID is fantastic. It does its job very well. Caveat, it is not a backup for those that might think that it is. And that's really it. I don't hate it. It's great. It's got its place, but it doesn't have its place in my home because I don't have enough
Yeah.
money to replace the discs that fail.
Well,
So
not just that, but you have to have that startup costs of all those discs to begin with.
right, yeah, exactly. So with my current JBOD setup, I buy high quality discs. I buy a USB version, the same size. Plug that in, copy it over, and I have a backup, and it's good. So
I'm
anyway,
sorry, Leo. I didn't mean to keep pulling your string.
oh, no, that's fine, because I mean, that's it. It allowed me to actually fully tell you, well,
Articulate
anybody.
all the
Yeah,
details.
exactly, of that. It's just too expensive to handle it. Anyway, so his last little bit is, incidentally, a note to your other contributor who is running ZFS on USB connected drives. I had heard that the USB protocol allows the storage to signal to the OS that a write is complete when it is not. This causes ZFS to leave the file system in an unrecoverable state should operations be interrupted. At this moment, I'm typing this on my desktop, which has had a new PSU as of yesterday afternoon. Before I replaced the PSU, it shut down abruptly 3 times, as suddenly as if the power cord was pulled from the wall. It came up after each interruption with no difficulty. I am cautiously optimistic that my diagnosis of a failing PSU was correct.
You must be talking about Josh, I guess, right?
I would assume so, because he's open ZFS all up and down now. He was our
Yeah.
ButterFS guy, and then I think, I don't know what happened, but now
I
he's
know,
on
he spent a
ZFS.
month getting me all, like, jacked up for ButterFS,
Oh,
and then he
I'm
bounces on it.
I'm still jacked up on ButterFS. This is gonna make is it Brad that always writes in about ZFS?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think ButterFS is better. Anyway, there's one last email. I've got diagnosis on this. That's way easier than what he's got. But Joe, could you take a look at this one? You're always quick to troubleshoot and give some advice on this one. You want to take this one?
From Nick.
Yes.
Okay, hi team. Can you help please? All aspects of audio playback, I get stuttering. I found a possible solution, but I do not know if it is safe to do. And then there's a forum link, which I have not looked at. The core steps posted by Igor ZWX did it, and now all my audio quit stuttering. I reset my sound preferences to the audio setting and revert my alsabase.conf file to its original form. I didn't have to install the other stuff, Opera, Real Player, Skype, etc., since I didn't need them. So to summarize, sudo apt-get update, sudo apt-get upgrade, sudo reboot, sudo kill all pulse audio, sudo apt-get purge pulse audio, sudo apt-get install tac y esound, esound tac clients, esound tac common, libsd tac alsa 0, sudo reboot, sudo apt-get remove, Paman, Podavi chooser, Pavu meter, and Pavu control.
Yeah, those are all the Pulse Audio softwares that
Right.
I guess would have gotten rid of once you got rid of Pulse Audio. Maybe an auto clean or an auto remove would do that. But
Possibly.
so essentially, it looks like he's replacing the Pulse Audio backend for audio with eSound.
And that's fixed a lot of his problems. So,
Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know if it's safe to do. He's not done it yet.
okay. Well, I don't see why it would be unsafe to do if it's already in the repos. If you're not adding someone else's repo and this is in the repos, then yeah, I see absolutely no problem.
Oh wait, no, I take that back. He did do it. The course steps posted by Igor did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
worked for
now
him.
all my audio quit stuttering. Okay, I read. Okay, I didn't know there was a time lapse within the email, but okay. So it fixed his audio. It stopped stuttering. But I guess the question remains: is it safe to do? I mean, it's all stuff from the repo, so yeah,
Yeah,
it would be safe, right?
absolutely.
And it's
I
just
Now,
would not.
pulse audio anyway. You just put it back in if you need it again.
Right.
right. And then on top of that, you should be able to. Well, the thing that I think you might run into is applications that expect Pulse Audio to be there. It's not there. So if you're not running into those kinds of applications that need Pulse Audio, then I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
safe fix.
Well, no, it's still a safe fix.
Right.
If it does break some other audio issues because it's missing pulse audio, that's something else entirely. But if this is what fixes your stuttering, then by all means go for it.
Yeah.
And I haven't ever heard of this other replacement for pulse audio. What was it called?
eSound. I don't know what
eSound.
eSound actually is. Is it
Yeah.
not just ALSA or something?
No, it can't be also, because he was talking about it has to be something on top of ALSA, the way Pulse Audio is on top of ALSA.
Yeah, I guess so.
So,
Hmm.
matter of fact, all the things that are looking for Pulse Audio aren't really looking for Pulse Audio. They're looking for ALSA. So he should just be fine.
Yeah.
Looks like eSound is used on Android as well. They have an APK for that.
Oh, so maybe that's what it is.
Hmm.
So I see absolutely no problem with switching to eSound, especially if it's fixed your stuttering issue.
Mm-hmm.
Although I would want to know a little bit more, like, was the stuttering issue caused by RAM usage, or was your processing extremely high because you're running on an older system? I mean,
Yeah,
was it
I
the
don't.
Realtek drivers?
Hmm.
Yeah, so my thought was going to be that it was drivers, that it was something to do with the driver that was in the particular kernel that you're
Yeah,
on, and by default, that's 5.4. So my recommendation was going to be just go to the update manager and update your kernel to 5.11
yeah,
and see if
and
that solves anything for you. I
that
mean,
can be helpful, but if you're working with like older hardware or like tablet obscure hardware, especially with the Realtek drivers, the older Realtek drivers and that ALSA conf, you have to go out there and dig through
oh, yeah.
forum after forum after forum to find a config that actually fixes your issues.
Look, I usually balk at the Arch, by the way, stuff, but in this case, Arch, by the way, Arch Wiki, by the way. I mean, that gives you a lot of that stuff that you would just need to drag and drop, copy and paste, whatever. So I mean, in this case, Arch does win. They
Yeah.
do have the answer
Well,
most likely.
if eSound is a better alternative, I'll actually try that on a couple of my tablets and see if that makes an improvement with like splitting up the HDMI sound with the 3.5 millimeter jack sound
Hmm.
and fixes those issues. So
Right. Well, it sounds like it's working. It's certainly safe because it's all repo stuff. So to answer that question, yeah, you're gonna be fine. If sound is good, you're good. I think everything's pretty good on this one.
Good.
All right. Well, that's it for our feedback. Wait a minute. Wrong window. That's it for our feedback. So let's take a look at some new cool software stuff. All right. I got one. Well, there's two. One of them is from me. It's Croc. So we were talking about Warpinator before. Warpinator works on a single LAN. It doesn't do any kind of weird NAT traversal firewall, this or that kind of figuring out. So I could not share a file with Tony right now without doing some fantastic internet magic.
VPN magic.
Right, exactly. I mean, things like Hamachi, right? They used to have that like thing where it would kind of put you on your own little LAN so you could play video games together and stuff like that. You would need something like that until you decide to just use Croc. So Croc fixes this issue. It does NAT traversal for you by moving your file through a what do they call it? A relay. So basically what ends up happening is there is a server out on the internet that will bridge you and your destination together so that you can send files back and forth without having to worry about, oh, how is my NAT set up? Oh, do I have my firewall set up correctly to accept? No, none of that. Croc will take care of it for you. So you got to be a little extra nerdy for it. Croc is only command line, But if you've ever used TeamViewer, it works like that, where you don't have to worry about whether or not all they've got to do is just be on the internet. And then TeamViewer handles the rest. You get an ID, which is what happens in Croc. You get an ID number. It's pretty egregious, but
Hey,
you're
Leo,
copying and pasting it anyway.
how is this croc any different or better than something like Onion Share, for example?
It's not. It's just something that you can use. It looks like all the screenshots are done in Sigwin, but I mean nothing really except it doesn't use the Tor network.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I mean it's a
Which
simple
makes it about
file
5 times
transfer.
faster.
Yeah, true. But I mean, it's a simple file transfer utility that you can use without having to worry about what network you're on. It's all encrypted. It uses unique keys so that you don't accidentally transfer your files to the wrong person, anything like that. So it's just good stuff, I think. Because I need ways to get files to people, and if you are a person that does not want to use Google Drive or some other kind of file sharing utility that's widespread out on the internet, then I gotta have something. Warpinator is cool if you're near me, but Croc, I think, if you can get a hold of it, is another good alternative to try out. So, listener Jack, so we had the email from Jack, and he sent us another email, but it didn't really fit in the feedback because it's not. Anyway, the point is, windy.com. If you want to lose a little bit of time seeing what weather looks like in your area, this
Wow.
is the website to do it. Look at this.
Have you checked it out? This is so cool looking.
Yeah. No, I know. And so he sent that in, and I was like, oh, it's weather. Like how could it actually be? It's good.
Yeah, no,
It's
this is literally
really.
amazing. Wow.
I'm gonna see if I can zoom in on Dallas here.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jack. This is cool.
I know. Look at this, man, and it gives you wind speed, everything. Look at this. You can check out what the wind is reported at all these different places. You can see the
Ah,
temperature. Like it drills down. See
there's
what's
a
going.
there's a 3D button up there too. See what happens if you click that. The
Okay.
top right. Yeah.
What? It gives you like the whole
Ooh.
globe. Okay, hang on. My computer's gonna just get intense. It's got some 3D rendering it's got to do. That's as far
Wow.
down as you can get. But yeah, take a look at this, man.
Hmm.
This is fantastic.
Oh, and
So
then you can add
sure.
all those other layers over there, and
Oh, look at that particulate matter. Well, Joe, You got
My
a
allergies are gonna suck today.
You got 11 micrograms per meters cubed over here, man. I don't know if that's good or bad, but the color's different, so surely that can't be great. Oh man, it looks really good, Jack. Thanks for sending that in. That's fantastic. I'll probably go lose half an hour here in a little bit to that. But that's it. It's time for announcements, I guess, right? I mean, we can finally close up the show, and if you look at the clock, we've somehow
We're only
managed.
6 minutes behind.
We
Well,
did it, guys.
no. Normally we're calling it at 5:15 or something like that. We have actually managed to shave off an entire hour from this show.
Well, let's
Yeah,
not
we
lose it
didn't
here, though.
start till 10 past anyway.
Right. So we're
Yeah.
actually we're 3 minutes ahead, and that'll be what takes the time to do
Two-
this.
We're at 2 hours and 3 minutes right now, so we're doing awesome.
Yep.
On Audacity, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, announcements, right? Our next mintCast episode will be 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time on July 25th, 2021. We'll have a link in the show notes for you to get the show time converted to your time zone. And our Saturday stream is going to be on the 17th. So our next Saturday stream will be 2 p.m. U.S. Central Time on July 17th. Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah, that's pretty right.
And if it's just me again, it will be more soldering. So
So it was all July 4th stuff that had everybody kind of preoccupied or whatever. I imagine I'll be there for this next one. So I'll be there to annoy you. But Joe, where can folks find you outside of the show?
well, you can catch me on a couple of my other shows. I'm on the Linux Link Tech Show, tllts.org. I'm on the Linux Lugcast, which you can find at linuxlugcast.com. You might be able to find me on MeWe, or you can send me an email directly, jb@mintcast.org.
Yeah, I think I've stopped posting over there.
On
The
MeWe,
show.
yeah.
I mean, we didn't get any traction on it.
I haven't
we had-
been watching it much. The only reason I bring it up is because we use it pretty heavily on Linux Lugcast.
I got you. Okay. Anyway, so Bo, he's not here today, but you can get him at the undercastnetwork.com or on YouTube, the Undercast Collective. We'll have links in the show notes. Tony, what about you?
Yeah, you can get me on Hacker Public Radio. I'm host ID 338 if you want to go and listen to some of my old shows on there. I'm on Twitter at TonyH1212. I'm on th@mintcast.org and DistroHoppersDigest@gmail.com.
And Josh isn't here either, but you can get him at joshontech@mintcast.org, at joshontech on Twitter, and most of the social media sites. And of course, Crowbar Kernel Panic. You'll see the live episodes of CKP debut on the mintCast YouTube channel, so go take a look at that. You can see if they're scheduled up and ready to go. And then the rest of all the edited stuff goes on the Crowbar Kernel Panic channel itself. You can get all links to that on our mintCast YouTube. Anyway, Mike, what about you?
Oh, you can email me at mike@mintcast.org. You can catch me on Discord at GrouchyM, or you can catch me outside my house with a butterfly knife.
Oh, no. And me, you can get me at leochavez.org and at leochavez on Twitter. And you can also find me, the linuxuserspace.show debuted again last Monday, so that is out and about again. And Leo at leochavez.org. So I spun up that email. They gave that to me for free. So yeah, if you want to just email me there, you can do that too. But before we leave, we want to make sure to acknowledge some of the people who make mintCast possible. Owen Peary for our audio editing. Josh Lowe for all his work on the website. Hobstar for our logo. InitRD for the animated Discord logo. And Londoner for our time sync every episode. Bytemark Hosting for hosting mintcast.org and our Mumble server. Archive.org for hosting our audio files. HPR for our backup Mumble room, maybe. And Mike for being awesome.
Yes, that was sweet. Thank you.
Nice. You're welcome. It's just totally off the cuff. That wasn't even written there at all.
I threw a hypocrite commit into the show, University of Minnesota style.
There it is. And of course, the Linux Mint development team for the fine distro we love to talk about every fortnight.
Thanks, Clem.
Thanks, Clem.
Clem and Co. And we're
Wow.
done. Now
All
it's
right,
time for the
guys.
show
Heck,
after the show. So stick around.
22:11.
Oh,
Take a look
hitting
at that.
stop.
all right,
Wow.
stop in Audacity.
Yeah.
Take a look at that, Tony.
Export.
I think that came out so awesome switching up the format.
You think so? You think it was good?
365.
I loved it that way, honestly. I liked it a lot better. I forget. Are we doing this as OGG or just export audio?
Export
We're
is FLAC.
exporting as FLAC.
Oh, FLAC. That's right.
Come on.
You got a new system or something?
Yeah, I'm using my XPS this time for the first time because the latest Arch kernel is crap on my other computer, and I didn't feel like dealing with it this morning. So
Wait a minute. You're telling me that Arch broke your workflow? Come on. That never
no,
happened.
I didn't feel like putting any time into it this morning.
That never happens, Mike. Come on.
No.
I think my zesty friend said Arch is very stable, right?
No. Yeah.
No,
he did.
no one has ever said that.
What 365. Wow, we've come full circle on our mintCast now.
Ha
so-
ha 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 ha
Oh.
Come on, that was a Moss
Ah.
joke.
ha.
Oh man. Yep.
That was
Get rid
a
of
solid dad joke right there.
Here we go. Bit depth, do we change from 16-bit or?
I leave it 516.
Okay, cool.
Show audio.
I probably
365
do
audio.
like the super high quality one, but I don't see any reason to because we the final MP3 is 96 kilobits, so it's not like you're gonna really be missing it.
What the heck? Why is my FLAC still coming out with .wave?
Because you didn't change it to .flac. You actually have to change that.
I have to type it?
You have to type it.
Wow.
It's a .flac. Oh, well, it's a FLAC file. It's just marked as .wave.
Oh.
You know what I forgot to do, y'all?
Mm.
I forgot to tweet that we were actually doing the live stream, and I forgot to put it in Telegram, and I forgot to put it in Discord. So it's a wonder we had as many listening as we did.
Well,
Yeah, but
it's
you know-
usually the normal, suspects in the YouTube. They all
Oh yeah,
know.
sure. Well, we usually get quite a few a little bit of engagement off of that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
How
why I
many do we
forgot.
have
I
to?
never forget. Oh, I
How
don't
many
know.
do we get in YouTube? Did you check?
When I end it, it will tell me.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I look at it maybe like 3 or 4 times during the show to make sure it doesn't say 0.
Yeah, you need to set it up so that the live chat shows up on the screen as well.
Oh yeah, I should. That's a good idea, Joe.
We'll get more engagement that way.
Joe, that's a really good idea, Joe.
I know.
Another good idea that you had today, Joe, was I think that when you mentioned doing the Saturday show with like retro gaming, that actually.
Well, we've actually mentioned that in the past, setting something up like that. I know we had talked. Well, you were a part of that conversation too.
Yeah.
With what was it? Like Quake 4 or Quake Arena.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
On that website that you had found.
Yeah, I'd love to do Quake Arena with everybody, and I know that's not really Tony's bag, but
Tony,
No.
if you were gonna play a game that was multiplayer, what would it be?
Anything that's not violent.
What kind of game? Like Hungry Hippos?
GTA Online.
I'm gonna assume
he said
that's a big
not
fat no.
violent.
Oh.
Well, do you play card games?
Yeah, I've played bridge and
No, I
stuff
mean
like
good
that in
card
the past.
games, like
Oh.
Magic the
Pardon?
Gathering.
Oh, do you
I
mean
love
those
Magic.
kind
Right?
Huh?
No, I've never
No.
played cards. Card
Do you play
game.
Magic, Joe?
Yes.
Oh, I
My
love
son
Magic.
I
my-
haven't bought
my-
any recent decks, and I haven't played in a while because nobody around here wants to play with anything other than brand new cards.
Yeah.
But I used to play all the time.
Me too.
I did tournaments. I had 1 week. every week I'd have like a massive game at my house.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love that. I haven't played. I'm the same. I haven't played in forever just because I don't know anybody that plays anymore. But
So
But
that'd be a
yeah,
what
cool
you're
thing too.
saying is we need to point the camera down at a like that mouse pad looking thing, that real big one, and then just play
I could set
Or
that
we
up.
could
that way.
do, or you could set up like a. We could all get like Magic Arena accounts or something.
Yeah.
Oh, we
They have
Or
that
could.
Magic
we had
Gathering
that
Arena.
I think that tabletop simulator game that we all downloaded might have a version of Magic available for it. I'd
You
have to
can, yep,
check.
there are packs that you can download that'll
Oh,
handle that for you. Yep.
now
And
that would be
you
cool.
don't have to spend any money past the normal $20. And then like all of the board games are available to you.
Hmm.
So I bet you there's a Monopoly. Tony, you up for Monopoly?
No,
Monopoly.
Monopoly is how you lose friends.
No.
Okay. No,
I
Listen,
played it
listen.
in real, you know, with the real board and
Monopoly
the
is how you
real
lose friends.
counters.
No, listen, you just owe me a lot of money when you land on my boardwalk. That's the end of the story. I'm sorry that you're mad about it, but that's just the way that the game is played.
No, you're right, but that's still how you end up losing friends.
Don't
Wow.
get mad at me for being awesome, okay?
So this is the first time I've used this XPS on the show, and usually by about an hour and a half into our show, I have to plug in an external battery pack into my other laptop because I'm
Mhm.
just about dead. I'm still sitting at 50% now on the XPS.
Wow.
You
So
don't have a power hook up there?
Not in my basement. No, I'm like kind of in the middle of the room down here.
how
That's what
funny.
50-foot extension cords are
I was
for.
about to say, man, get that orange cord down there, man. Just
Oh
drag
man.
it. It's fine. Don't trip on it, but yeah, it'll be fine.
Is that an XPS 13?
Yeah, it is. It's the this is that developer edition that I was telling you guys
Yeah.
about like 2 months ago, something like that. 3
They've got
months.
pretty good battery life on them, haven't they?
Incredible. I've never between the battery life and how cool it runs, this thing consistently runs at about 36 Celsius.
Well, I was telling who was it, Joseph, in the chat, that what I wanted for a laptop was a T495.
What the Lenovo?
The AMD version.
Mm.
That's what I want, man.
I almost got that last summer. I was like on the fence between that and the Star Labs laptop that I got.
So what's this? Why is oh, those are new. You can pick these up for that cheap? No, what's wrong with this? Oh, it's bids. It's not done yet. Okay. So I mean, I paid a few years ago whenever I bought this T450 S, I paid like 500 for it. And that's about what the 295s are, or 495s are right now. They're a little over 500.
The regular 495 or the 495S?
I'm looking at the S. I bet you the regular is a little cheaper.
The regular only has Intel though, right? Isn't that the S difference is that S has AMD and non-S has Intel?
It's the 5 that's the difference. So a 490 and a 495 are the same
Oh.
gen, but the 5 is AMD.
Gotcha.
So yeah, look at this. 600, it's not too bad. Ryzen Pro 3500U. It'll be supported for Windows 11. Because that's what I want. Wow, it's actually more expensive.
Oh, before I forget, actually, was that butterfly knife joke at the end too much? Was that like
No,
crossing the line?
No, I don't
Nah,
think so.
nah, that's fine. Unless it wasn't too much, unless someone actually shows up at your house with a butterfly knife.
In which case,
then
you brought it on yourself.
Then it was too much.
I welcome it because it'll be a very, very sad day for them.
Oh man.
I'll be in the news at least.
Hey, there you go.
See, in Texas, it probably wouldn't even make like the local newspaper.
Oh, it definitely would.
I mean, seriously.
It would. Get out of here. Let me see.
You have shotguns though, Joe?
Yeah.
I've never fired a shotgun in my life.
Really?
Just hold on tight, man.
A lot of rifles. I've fired an actual Uzi before, but I've never fired a shotgun.
Well, I've done what 22s, 9mm, 45s, 50 cals, both handguns and rifles.
My brother has a 50 cal handgun.
AT4s, M249s.
You better be careful. Tony's about to dial 999.
I went to an indoor range.
I fired fully automatic grenade launchers. So
Oh, the 203?
no, the 203 is the underbarrel.
Mm.
I'm trying to remember because I fired the M50 and the M50 is a 50 cal, and
Yeah.
that's the it's a mounted
A vehicle mounted one, right?
yeah, but it also has its own tripod. I'm trying to remember the designation for the automatic grenade launcher.
Here's a question. The T495S, the picture I'm looking at right here makes it look like the speakers are on top in
Mark
that little.
19.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not true, is it?
I don't recall seeing like front firing speakers on any Lenovo actually.
Right. I don't think that's true. Because I looked at the next one, it didn't look like that was the case.
And the M16.
I remember when I was in, we had. Did you ever get to fire the M240 Bravo?
When I was in basic training, we had M240 Bravos, but they were being phased out, and we were basically the last people to get training on them. And
Mhm.
after that, I never saw one. But I was an M249 gunner like my whole time in, and for some reason they always give like the smallest guys the M249, and
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
was
there he
like
is.
175 pounds, so I
I was
was on the
125.
smaller end of the scale.
I was 125 at 17 years old, carrying toting around the M240 Bravo. The thing weighed half of me.
Yeah, then the M240 is like way heavier than the M249.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Why did you have a 240?
I don't know. I honestly don't. I had a 16 primarily, but every once in a while they'd saddle me with the stupid 240, and I hated it.
No, what unit were you in that they were still using a 240? Because you're what? How old are you?
Oh, I'm turning 40. I was
Oh, I'm
I
turning 40 this year too, and like
yeah,
I
I
said, it
joined up
was
in
being
'99.
phased out.
Oh, we still had it. We had it at Campbell.
Okay, well, I was at Sill when I had the 240, and that's where they taught me to field strip the 240 and put it back together. And we
Mhm.
did go out to the range and test out the 240, but after that, it was the 249 the whole damn time.
Wow. Yeah, no, I used the heck out of the 240. I liked it. I mean, I thought it was cool because they were talking about how it's primarily an anti-equipment. Uh,
Well, they say the same thing about the M249 and the M50. You're not allowed to shoot people with the M50, but you're allowed to shoot all the equipment that you want. It doesn't matter if they're wearing the canteen at the time.
that's
It's a perfectly
exactly what they
viable
said.
target.
That's exactly what they said to me. And that
Right.
round would literally cut somebody in half.
It doesn't even have to hit them with the M50. It's got to get close to them and they'll be cut in half.
All right, Tony, go ahead and dial 999 now.
Yeah,
Now, Tony,
Uh,
a question for you as an Englishman.
go on.
Have you ever held a firearm? Like I know you guys don't really have them over there.
Well,
I've shot shotguns
yeah.
for clay pigeon, and I used to do target shooting indoor
Mhm.
range.
Oh,
I'm fairly
That's
certain
over
that
30 years ago that I did that.
I'm fairly certain that long rifles and shotguns are still a fairly common household thing in that whole country, either from grandfathered weapons or simply from the fact that hunting is still a thing.
mhm.
Oh yeah, it's very, very, very strictly controlled
Yeah,
compared with the US and even other parts of Europe.
yeah, I'm sure
Right.
that it is, but yeah, it's still not going to completely disappear all the
No,
weapons that are
no.
there. People are still going to have
Yeah.
them.
Long guns for hunting are very strictly controlled. Shotguns are slightly easier to get a license for them, but you've still got to go through quite a vetting process, and you've got to show that you can store it and the ammunition securely. And
But
nowadays, if you're doing target shooting, you can't. You used to be able to keep your long gun for target shooting at home again, as long as you could prove you've got secure storage. But now, mostly you can only store them at the clubs. So the club has to have the storage for individual target guns.
And are you
But
not
I'm
allowed handguns at all? Is that
yeah. I was about to
Handguns are
say
virtually impossible to get a license for.
wow?
it's much harder to get a
Apart from the
specific
2.2
reason.
target
Yeah,
handguns.
it's harder to get a specific reason to have a handgun. Think about it.
Wow.
Unless you're working security, then you don't really need a handgun at home, according to them.
Security guys in this country, only the police can
Well,
carry firearms.
okay,
Wow.
then yeah, it would be even harder. But think about it. You really aren't going to use one for hunting. So there's no, and they're saying you don't need one for personal protection because no one else is going to have one either,
Hmm.
despite the fact that, every person there seems to get shanked with a knife every other week.
Yeah.
But
In
But a
Texas,
knife's not a gun.
uh,
in
Yeah.
Texas, you guys don't even need to get any kind of permit, do you?
Not
the
anymore.
laws recently changed this last
Oh,
Huh?
open
No?
carry. You
I
do.
thought they found him. I thought they found him
Yeah,
and
no,
just
something
took
is
him
wrong.
out.
Every time my keyboard glitches, it like locks up everything on my computer.
Oh yeah.
It's really super annoying. But no, in Texas now, you can concealed carry, you can open carry, you can even, as of like today, have a silencer without a problem. So they have really dropped the laws here in Texas. Anybody can carry a gun at any time. Nothing.
most of
At least that's
Arizona's
what it
like
seems
that
like.
as well, isn't it?
Huh?
Most of Arizona's like that as well, isn't it?
Well, Arizona, no one would notice. There's like nobody there. It's
Yeah,
too
there's like
damn hot
4
to live
people
there.
You're always just in the process of
Look,
melting. So
nobody wants to leave their house in Arizona because that's where the air conditioner is.
yeah.
So in
Yeah.
my state, you don't need a license to purchase or own a firearm, even a handgun. You can go out and, you wait the standard 5-day waiting period and the gun is yours. You can take it home, you can have it. We don't have any type of registration at all in our state, so we don't have to register our firearms. But in order to get
Which is stupid.
yeah, it is stupid. So I'm glad we don't have to register it. But in order to get a concealed carry in this state, it takes practically an act of God. Like you really need to show like that your life is on the line, that you're in serious jeopardy if you don't have a firearm on you at all times. It's so impossible.
Well,
But then
sounds like
but
you're
like I
moving to
said,
Texas, huh?
yeah, I mean, just so I can feel like a badass walking around with a few guns.
I
Why would
guess.
you want to though?
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't. I never ever would because I wouldn't want to carry the weight, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm I don't see myself in any situation where I'm going to cause enough of an issue where I'm going to get shot.
Well, look what happened, what was it, 2-ish weeks ago? And now I'm kinda drawing a blank on where it happened, but the good guys, like, came out and tried to stop the bad guys who were shooting, and then when the cops got there, they thought the good guys were the bad guys, so they shot the Good Samaritan who intervened.
Yeah, it's difficult being a cop.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. How do you know when you
you're
show
a
to the
cop,
situation?
you show up, there's a guy with a gun and he's shooting. What do you do? Well, you
Right,
shoot the guy with the gun that's shooting. Who cares?
exactly. I know, it's so tough.
Because, cops want to go home to their kids. So they
Absolutely.
see a guy with a gun and he's shooting. They're not going to ask if he's shooting at the bad guys. They're going to stop him from shooting.
Right.
Right, guys. 10:30, and we're
Yes.
finished.
And
Oh.
you've been able to
I've
leave
already
like
uploaded my audio.
yeah. I haven't
Yeah.
uploaded because I always feel like it's
You
gonna mess up this,
you
but
could have
I do it
left
right
like
after.
20 minutes ago, Tony, and we wouldn't have
I
said
could.
anything.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
This
then
is
you
our
wouldn't
birthday
have
present to
but
you.
but then you wouldn't have known about the restrictions.
Yeah. Okay. I shall talk to you next Saturday, hopefully.
All
Have
right,
a good night, Tony.
Have a
Yeah.
good one.
Cheers. Good
Cheers.
night.
You know what I've done is I've gone with the elementary icon theme, and I want the Yaru desktop theme, but everything else needs to stay Linux Mint. Uh, I don't know why. I don't know why. I just like those. I like those icons.
But
I'm
it's
gonna,
interesting, the statistics that you see from Arizona specifically, where people are allowed to open carry all the time, and how it has reduced crime by like 98%.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we want to start, I mean, if they were to want to start open carrying here in Rhode Island, I'd be all for it. I'm not opposed to it. I just personally wouldn't do it because I mean, I live in honestly, my town is filled with
Well,
lawyers and doctors,
Mm.
and there's no crime
you know
here.
what the difference is between you and most people?
What's that?
You have actually been in a position where you had to carry a weapon and possibly have to shoot someone. So it's actually gone through your head from a real life standpoint instead of a theoretical standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I do carry on me all the time is I do carry a switchblade knife because I feel like that's something good to.
Well, I don't carry the switchblade because, there are laws about how long it can be. And yes, this is a fanny pack because my current shorts have no
Hold on.
freaking
Hold. This
pockets.
is hilarious to me. We've got
I
more
have no
restrictions.
pockets.
We've gotten more restrictions on knives in this state than we do on guns.
Wait, you
Yeah,
have restrictions on knives that, like, in general?
you can only have a
Why?
knife that's like 3 inches long.
But I mean, that just makes no sense to me.
But
Yeah,
I,
that's weird.
I I started carrying this.
Oh yeah,
All this is like a
it's a box cutter,
Stanley,
right?
yeah, a
Yeah.
Stanley knife box cutter. I 3D printed the handle though, and it just, folds up all nice and goes in my pocket. So I got this idea from Phoebe on the Linux Lugcast. And if I go traveling, go on a plane or something, all I have to do is pull out the blade. This can fly anywhere without the blade in it because it's nothing but a piece of plastic.
Right.
And then, land wherever I'm gonna be for a few days, swing by Walmart, pay 98 cents for 5 blades, and put one in, and I'm good to go.
All right. I'm gonna
Wow.
wind this down and
No
head
box
that
will be
way.
safe.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
You out of here, Leo?
I think so, and I'm gonna go kill that live stream.
All right, I'm gonna take off too then. Have a good rest of your weekend, guys.
All right, y'all. I get to go
Uh,
mow the lawn.
Too much work to
Yay!
do.
And
I
it just
probably
rained.
get to
Just
fold
rained.
some clothes and maybe probably log into work.
Hmm.
Ooh, that doesn't happen until
Fun
8
times.
a.m. tomorrow. Mm-mm.
Yeah, by 8 a.m. tomorrow, I expect I'll have already been at work for an hour and a half.
Ugh.
Yeah, oof, no.
It's been a bad couple of weeks, and it's gonna be a bad couple of weeks more when it comes to work.
Wow. I can't even. I work at 8, and I wake up at 7:55. I
Well,
stand
once
up, take my 2 steps over to my chair, and I'm at work.
I got a
Yeah, that's how it is for
presentation.
me too. I work
It's
I work
awesome.
right here.
Yeah,
I g
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I gotta go far to get to work. I can either work here or in my in the garage, and I tend to prefer the garage, but,
Yeah.
Mm.
Quieter. It's quiet back here, so yeah. I huddle down back here, hermit up, and bring a little food, a little drink, and then yeah, it's like I'm at work because I
I
yeah.
I've got a major, global presentation on Tuesday, and then I have an email that has to go out on Monday,
Wow,
for another global presentation that should happen the following week.
that
But
sounds fun.
then, after that, well, I have to do a whole bunch of coordination with that second one to get, other people involved to present specific things to everybody else. But then after that, hopefully things slow down for a little while, but I gotta get the 2 new people, trained and, make sure that they're up to speed and can do things, and then things should hopefully slow down for me. But I have to take the 23rd and the 26th off because I have to go pick up my kids.
Mm.
Mm.
Well,
And then
let
I
us know
won't
how
be
it
in the
all
gym
goes,
as
Joe.
much. I'm sure you'll hear all about it in my next biweekly wanderings that take
Yeah,
less time than yours.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna go measure. We'll
You
see.
time that out. You time
All
that
right.
out.
Hey y'all, if you're still on YouTube, thanks for coming by, thanks for listening, thanks for hanging out with us all the time. So yeah, y'all have a good one. I'll see you on the next live stream.
Thanks all. All right, Joe. I'll talk to you later, man.
Oh, no, no, no. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
We got to set up the retro thing. So
Yeah.
next Saturday, do you just want to try and screen share one? I can
Yeah.
try and set up
So
I have a Genesis emulator, I think, on this machine.
yeah,